Okay, I'm ready to begin. Let's begin.
The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to medical doctors of any practice and specialty to apply to the Foundation's private weekly medical teaching workshop. This includes medical doctors, dentists, and veterinarians. Scientists of the Keshe Foundation developed different types of plasma therapies and cures that utilize advanced, non-invasive plasma technology. The weekly private medical teaching workshop educates doctors to the plasma science behind the therapies, along with the functionality and operation of revolutionary plasma medical devices. The goal of the private teachings is to add plasma health knowledge to the profound knowledge of medical doctors. The weekly class is broadcast live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central European Time. Presently, the class is only offered in English. However, you are free to bring a translator to the class. If you can't participate in the live broadcast, you can watch them later at your convenience through a private internet portal. Every patient's case that is discussed in the workshop will be kept anonymous and private. This includes cataloged findings and data gained from the analysis of the patient's health issues. Any medical doctor in the world who wants to participate can do so by sending an email to doctors@spaceshipinstitute.org. In your email, please state your willingness to participate in the medical teaching workshop. If you're planning on bringing a translator to the workshop, please state this in your email as well. After we receive your email, we will contact you with the instructions on how to apply to the workshop. As a part of the application process, applicants who apply, including any translators brought into the workshop, will be required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. All applicants will be required to provide proof of their education and ability to practice medicine, and will also be required to pass an extensive security background check before they are granted access to the teaching workshop. Healthful plasma technology is here, now, the use of which is increasing exponentially on a day-to-day basis on every continent. We encourage you to come and learn about this revolutionary technology. Apply today. The Keshe Foundation is extending an invitation to experienced farmers, agricultural specialists, and researchers to apply to the Foundation's private weekly agriculture teaching workshops. If you fall into one of these categories and are interested in plasma technology integration into agriculture, you're invited to apply. Scientists and agricultural practitioners of the Keshe Foundation continually develop and apply new methods of food and fiber production, soil fertility management, plant and livestock health management, and increased farm productivity using the most advanced plasma technology that is taught at the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. In the teaching workshop, you'll learn the science of plasma technology and its applications in the field of agriculture for enhanced and equitable global food production while minimizing costs and external inputs. Practicing farmers and Keshe Foundation scientists will demonstrate their application of plasma technology in agriculture and the ensuing results of such applications, thus deepening and enriching learning for all participants in the private teachings. Participants are encouraged to demonstrate their farming practices in the teaching workshop. The private teachings are broadcast in English live over the internet through a secure private channel every Wednesday at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central European Time. If necessary, you may bring a translator to the workshop. All applications are required to provide proof of their education and professional qualifications, must pass a security background check, and are required to sign the Keshe Foundation's World Peace Treaty, which can be found at the following web address. Translators that attend must also pass a security check and sign the World Peace Treaty. For details on how to join the private teachings in agriculture, send an email to agriculture@kfssi.org stating that you'd like to participate. Include in the email your education and agricultural experience and reasons for your interest in plasma technology. Applicants will be contacted with further instructions and details on the application process. The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce the Second Universal Council and Second Science Conferences, which will be held in Rome, March 27th through 31st, 2017. If you're interested in attending both or either conference, please go to www.keshefoundation.org and click on New Web Shop at the top of the home page. You can attend the conferences as an audience member or participate as a science conference presenter. Presenters will be allocated 1 hour to present products and innovations in Keshe plasma technology in any of the following categories: space technology, health, materials, energy, agriculture, transportation, the environment, GANs and nanotech, and any other area that applies. Foundation distributors and manufacturers will be attending the conference, affording you the opportunity to build relationships to promote and market your products. The full package price for both conferences is €1,650 per person, which includes daily attendance to the conferences, 6-night stay in Rome, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations for this package is based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 26th of March, check-out on the 1st of April. The full package price for 2 persons for both conferences is €3,300, which includes daily attendance for 2 persons, 6-night stay in Rome, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the conferences. Accommodations for this package include a twin room with a king-size bed. Check-in on the 26th of March, check-out on the 1st of April. You can stay additional nights if you wish at a cost of €175 per night per person. A single ticket for those who wish to only attend the Universal Council Conference, which takes place on the 27th and 28th, is €750, which includes the price of admission plus 2-night stay in Rome in a 2 single-bed room, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations is based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 26th of March, check-out on the 29th. A 2-person ticket for those who wish to only attend the Universal Council Conference is €1,500, which includes the price of admission plus 2-night stay in Rome in a hotel room with a king-size bed, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations is based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 26th of March, check-out on the 29th. A single ticket for those who wish to only attend the Universal Science Conference, which takes place on March 29th through March 31st, is €1,150, which includes the price of admission plus 4-night stay in Rome in a 2 single-bed room, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations is based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 28th of March, check-out on the 1st of April. A 2-person ticket for those who wish to only attend the Universal Science Conference is €2,300, which includes the price of admission plus 4-night stay in Rome in a hotel room with a king-size bed, as well as breakfast, tea, and lunch on the days of the event. Accommodations are based on double occupancy. Check-in on the 28th of March, check-out on the 1st of April. If you would like to attend and prefer to make your own arrangements for accommodations, the price of admission to either conference is €200 per day. We look forward to meeting you at the Second Universal Science and Council Conferences in Rome, March 27th through 31st, 2017.
Welcome everyone to the 162nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again, we'll have Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation here to speak to us about the latest developments with the Keshe Foundation. And he's got some news, I think, from Ghana, as well as we'll have some showings of different experiments and things that people are doing to have a better description of the fields that that we're trying to measure with this new technology. Okay, I think we're ready to move into the main part of the workshop here. Are you ready, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, good morning, good day to you as usual, whenever and wherever you listen to these Knowledge Seekers program. Welcome back to 162 teaching, and hopefully we learn from each other a little bit more and we add to the knowledge of ours and the others that in the future we can benefit by it. Today's teaching, as usual, we try to add little by little into the space technology program, and at the same time try to understand more of what now is what we call the catching up, and trying to understand more about the technology. Part of the new understanding is what we have seen and what it has been brought up by testing in different fields, and in part of it we start teaching additional knowledge about the deeper space. As you have noticed in the past few weeks, we have gone more away from teaching of nanomaterials and other parts, and more we get involved in understanding of the physicality of the man in deep space. As we've said before, for us to be satisfied, to be able to live in deep space, we have to understand the conditions we are entering. What is the condition? Here on Earth, we are used to very limited changes, and the parameter of the changes are within what we have. Just 1 second, please. So what it means is that we have come to understand, to work within slight temperature changes, slight pressure changes. If the pressure and the temperature is slightly different than what we are used to, we find out we cannot cope. We go through conversion of the energy which our body is not accommodated for, is not planned for, is not set out to do. It is important for us to be able to do this, to understand it. Here, when, for example, we go from land into the water, we haven't adapted ourselves after millions of years to reverse the process where we came back from. We came from the water. But living on the land, we lost the habit of using our systems, which is still part of us, to be able to live within a liquid environment of the waters of the oceans. The same is with us in a space. Just 1 second. Sorry about that, we're trying to silence everything, but you can't silence everything. So what we're saying is that we have not even adapted into where we came from to be reversed, to be able to live in the oceans, to live in the water liquid. Even now we go into air with jetliners. A slight drop in height gives us different pressures, different problem with our emotion. Sudden drop, with our balance, with our fear. And this is not what we're going to feel in the space. There'll be transitions, but in those transitions, it'll be totally different than what we are used to here. The transitions are in so many ways non-tangible, but felt internally, because they will play with our feel the strength of our emotion, with the feel the strength of our soul, with the feel the strength that our physicality has to react or will change according to. The small changes in the pressure, temperature, has created different colors, races and heights and features for the man on this planet. Now that we go into deeper space, it's going to be a massive change where we have to learn how to cope, how to change, how to interact with these new changes, with these new change of environment. The change of environment is not anymore temperature, it's the field strength. How do we react? How do we protect ourselves to keep the integrity of the physicality, the emotion and the soul together? Here, when we interfere with the working of the physicality, the emotion and the soul separates from the physicality. We call it the death. How can we live in a space that we can keep the totality, but according to the condition of environment we can adapt to? Here has taken thousands of years to adapt into color, into different color of hair, into different color of eye, into different height, color of skin. In space we don't have these millions of years of evolution. The evolution comes within us, within the strength of the transformation from the strength of the soul to emotion to physicality. This is the part of the teaching of the man into space. How do we adapt? Is there a common denominator feature that allows us to live a life in deep space irrespective of the condition? Or do we become prisoners of our own spaceship in the space of the universe? We go out, but we cannot put a foot out. We go out, we cannot interact with what we came to see. We become more or less a fish in the fish tank of the spaceship. Or we have to learn that we become citizens of the universe. Being a citizen means understanding how to adapt into the environment, how to interact. It's like we say we are citizens of one planet. We go from China to Europe to Africa, we still interact, we still breathe the same air, but we have different features. Is this possible in deep space? And how do we react to it? How do we change according to be able to be part of universal community, but at the same time to change to fit the environment? This time is not a hat, a jacket, a t-shirt or a bikini, according to where we are. This time is the strength of the emotion and the soul which creates the barrier and creates the boundary of the physicality of the existence. This time we have to understand our inner strength in the soul level, that we can feature according to the environment we arrive in, and at the same time be the chameleons of the environment. We don't have millions of years of evolving and becoming to see what the people in that area are, that we can sit there till we evolve by looking at it or trying to get into the environment that we can adapt. It has to be spontaneous. You travel speeds beyond the speed imagination of the man, as we spoke before. It's not the rule of E=mc² anymore, because this is irrelevant. We travel with the speeds of light several times by order of magnitude, hundreds of times by order of magnitude. how much ready are we? Do we need to be educated? Yes. But how can we educate those who want to be the passengers of a space? Otherwise, the space and the spaceship become prisoner of man. We've seen it. We bring people from different countries in another country, and after a while they want to go back. There is no lock and door, no keys, nothing. They have the freedom of a country, but still they see the country as a prison because it's not what they're used to. Now imagine you send man into deep space. The freedom has to come from the balance of the emotion and the soul of the man. Then the man will find a space. It's oyster. We have to understand how to change. We have to understand how to react to the change according to our emotion and the soul that the physicality follows to accommodate. How do we do this? How do we interact? How do we go into the barrier step of reversal to understand that in so many ways our body, the way it is, the way we are composed of, is composed of the elements of the solar system with its cells, is composed of the elements of the universe. So we have a common denominator. We have a point that we can refer back to, that on it we can build the brick blocks of the soul of the man's strength, that with it manifest the physicality of the man. The talk and the teaching is not about any more nano and ganses. It's about understanding the strength of the emotion and the soul of the man, that the man can become the passenger of space. Otherwise, you will be trapped in the world of the earth, as it says, I'm the foreigner in my own country. We become foreigners in the space of the universe where we came from, because we don't understand where and how we fit into it. In the process of the change, in the process of the understanding, in the process of development of the soul and emotion, man will come to understand a key point. And that is, I have a common denominator with the rest of the universe. And that is the field strength of the spectrum of it, which has created me. Can I change the strength? Can I change the dimensions of the strength, that I can exist in any dimension in the world? At the moment, we travel from one country to another and we are totally lost. We do not know how to communicate. We don't have the common language. Why man has demoted himself to the point of the sound, where I can stand in front of you and feel your emotion, that what you want, what you're offering me, and what you want me to pay you for it, and what you want from me to take in what I've given. The more what you call Western style civilized, or what you call civilization of the man across the world has taken place, we have lost the point of the trust in ourselves, in our ability to trust the others. That with trusting, we lose half of the energy which has been created for us to protect us. We've done the same thing in our life on this planet, we'll do the same beyond this planet. Because we have always been afraid of being demolished, being destroyed, being taken out, being killed. If the man realizes that his life is eternal, he will realize that it's him who decides in which dimension to be physically manifested the way he wants. I said in many of the teaching in recent past, it's a big surprise when you come to Africa, if you are not used to it. In Europe, everything is scaled, everything is weighed. In Africa, it doesn't exist unless you're in a white man's shop. I give $1 and I trust that the other person give me equal to my $1 what I asked for. In $1 in one shop might buy 6 eggs, and in another might buy 5. But still, it's the same egg. But nobody weighs it. In one shop they give you 10 tomatoes for $1, and in the other one, 6. It's me who I trust you. There is no scale. In Western world, we measure to the gram. We are not giving 1 gram more than 1 kilo. It doesn't exist in Africa, because the level of trust has kept to the point, so half of the problem is not there to start with. This goes back to us, how we trust ourselves. How we trust the transition from physicality to the emotion, and we trust that in trusting in our emotion, we can trust our soul that it'll keep everything in integrity and totally intact, that we can exist to confirm our existence. But do we need to confirm our existence in the level of the physicality of the earth, or are we confirming our existence through the existence of our soul, which understands the language of the universe? And we have never wanted to understand it, and to use it, and to obey the rules of it. How many of you have had a dream about your mother, your brother, your uncle, or somebody you knew? How many of you have had a dream in interaction with their soul, and you did not need to see the physicality in your eyes, in your dream, that it manifests itself as is the mother, the brother, or the friend? Then man has to understand the next step, that in his soul level, in the strength which operates, man is already in communication with the universal community. Has been, and has been from the beginning of the time of the creation of the man. It's us who has put that barrier, that we do not give the physicality, that then we can confirm its existence. So now for us is to go back into a strength of our soul, the way our soul sees the soul of the mother who died 30, 40 years ago, or the grandfather of so many hundreds of years ago. And we believe, because we have changed the knowledge into the vision, that the vision confirmed the existence, that we confirm this is the mother who speaks. Now the problem for the man is to understand how busy his soul has been in interaction with the other souls in the universe and the way they've been communicating, but has been blinded to the man, because the physicality of the man cannot understand the emotion of the essence of the creation of the soul and its operation. To you, these things sounds very strange, but it's the reality which the man has confined himself to physicality of his body and its atmospheric condition. Then when we open into the dimension of understanding of the operation of our soul, would we start translating the emotion of the passengers of the universe, and then can we give them shape to confirm this is from this planet, or this is from this part of the universe? And strange enough, when we start understanding the strength of our emotion, the gates of the communication through the universal community, through the soul of the man, will open up. This is the stages we have to go through. But there is a key point. Is the creation of the environment of the plasmatic condition that the survival of the man in its total physicality exists, And this transition point will come when the doors of the spaceships are shut. Then man, through the process of the conversion in total new dimensions of the interaction of the fields, will understand the level of the new life. At this moment of time, when we go to space, we condition ourselves on the physical condition with pressure. In the new spaceships which is getting developed and is developed and used by some nations, the passengers of the craft, in being in the new conditional environment, which is the balance with the rest of the universe, shall see their own soul, the operation of their own soul, the communication in how to join the universal community. This is the message which is on the table. How far man is prepared to go to become part of another society which is already part of but he's not aware of. We go from village to the city, and from the city we are still part of the same nation. But very different environment between the village and the center of the modern cities. When a man comes from rural areas and he walks into the middle of the Times Square and he sees everything else, or in the middle of Moscow or in Beijing, it's a different world. The head is up and the mouth open, baffled by the new, what he was part of but he didn't know exist. Man's mouth in the space will be so wide that he'll never shut, because he's baffled by what he's been part of but he didn't know, as part of one universal community. How do we understand this? How do we develop this? How do we handle this, and how do we come not to be afraid of what is to be and what is to come? In the teachings of past few weeks, we are making the ground ready. Very, very slowly. I remember when 2-3 years ago we went from the gas reactors to the GANS reactors, there was a mayhem across the Keshe Foundation. He's been teaching the gas, now he's changed to another, now what we're going to do with this? And it was a mayhem. It took time for people to change. It took a lot of people to change from the gases now to understand the work of the GANs and the work of the fields of the GANs. Some people are still stuck because they invested a lot of time and effort into the gas reactors. Now we go into smaller gas reactors. If that was a shock to you, this is going to be a bigger shock. Some of you still work in the gas because you're safe, you feel good. And some of you move to the GANs but still have some apprehension about the whole thing. Now we move to interaction of the fields of the GANs, which has no dimension, which is the soul of the man. The transition will uproot all our school of thoughts, which we have been accepting and have been more or less inbred. We shall not see color, so I cannot call you black, I cannot call you white. You shall not be Chinese, and you shall not be Korean or African. We shall see each other's soul and the beauty of it by the strength of the mission of what is giving and not what is taking, because the giving is so much that what it takes is so minute, is what I don't need. At least we serve each other. The color of soul is the transparency of the fields of the emotion of the man. This is the biggest and hardest part for many of you who want to move into the spaceship program. It's not a spacesuit anymore. It's not a weightlessness anymore. It's not training to become passenger of space. It's training to become part of the space. Knowing that in totality the integrity of me shall stay. Till the point when I see my soul, the energy which it holds, can become part of another to give it life to exist longer, or become part of the another that it can serve more. The fear of the man to hold on to his physicality is 99% of the cause of his demise. Trust in feeling of the emotion, trust in understanding the strength of the soul that become non-physical is the key. I have to teach nanomaterial. I have to teach how to make a coil. I have to teach how to make these balls that they can create the field. Because you've never been taught in thousands of years. And this is the path to universal unification of the man with the universe and with the souls which are constructed out of the environment of this planet. The preparation of the man to go into space without the shackles of the physicality will be a very harsh one. Not many will cross the line, because the fear of trusting their own soul is much harder than trusting the physicality of this planet, as it can finish with an accident, an earthquake, and whatever else. Will leave the destiny of the physicality, separation from the soul, in the hand of the events, than us being in charge of it, that the events become irrelevant. At least on this planet. The understanding of the emotion of the man will lead to the physical manifestation of his presence. So let's go back into the emotion and find out how at least we can use our emotion to change our physicality. Can we do that? Or do we need to tune or fine-tune slightly the fields which are coming from the soul, by, let's say, by buffering it, that at the level of the emotion we have the tangibility of the existence, and then we can interact. That we do not need the, what we call the fragile physical world of existence of the body of the man. How much can we teach is not a problem. How much the man allows himself to accept the new according to the level of his own intelligence and according to the level of his own understanding of the truth about the world of creation. I always say, man accepts this technology according to his intelligence, to where he's comfortable with. For me to show what you want to see is a flick of a finger, but then I become a magician. Putting a stick on the ground, or opening a river, or creating some sort of manifestation that you know more, does not work anymore. We have to guide the soul of the man, that the man in totality find the path into the universal community, not a tribe, that then we become the abusers of the others because they've been present, or the magic has been used by them to open the sea for them to be the cause of more abuse in the future. The teaching, as you understand and you've seen since past couple of months, is more for the man to move, to trust his own soul, that there shall be no temples for the man anywhere in the universe to become the pitfall and the cause of division of man with the rest of universal community. As I say, there are no churches, no temples, and no mosques in the universe, because when you understand the truth, the soul of the man becomes the church of the man. Then what is to be believed to be the correct conduct becomes part of the structure of the physicality at the point of manifestation. How do we do this? How do we understand our own soul? How do we get in touch with our emotion? How do we start communicating that we understand that we can confirm, at least by a tool, that we feel the response of our emotion? This is the key. The man is too physical. So he has to see something that confirms what he's doing is what is there, and he has no trust in himself. And then we come across, prove it to me, show it to me, because it's not that you're wrong, it's I'm stupid, I can't understand. If you say it works that way, show it to me, because I don't trust you. It means I'm too stupid to follow, to understand myself, to do it myself. So I meager you that it doesn't show my stupidity. This time is you who have to have trust in yourself that you're not stupid, to confirm to your own soul. And this is the big question. Is you who has to find a warm home into the life of your own emotion, and through it understanding its strength, to find a warm home and a passage in a so many small way into your soul, then you can open the motorways of it. It takes time. It comes out of total belief in one's emotion. Total belief in what you do is correct. Total belief in what you do is said to be for the betterment of the others and not you. This is the key. Not going out and giving physically that you buy a key to the path to the next world, but understanding how through the strength of your emotion you can open the key to your soul. You can find the access to your soul. You can find a way to bring the fields in the level of the strength of the soul, the emotion and physicality, more or less to a point that by changing one slightly, the other one changes. This is the key. This is the hidden key in the whole structure of the existence of the man. If the change is too much on the soul side, the physicality needs to change a lot, and you cannot change the liver and put it on the head and put your kidneys on your toes. But you can adjust it that everything shrinks to the point that it can work, it can deliver, it can manifest itself, but the emotion can accept physicalities exist, and the soul can accept the changes both in the environment, the emotion, and its own existence of the physicality at the point of manifestation. So one of the first steps is understand, how does my emotion, how does the environment I live in, how does the accommodated condition has changed me? And use that path to find a way to your emotion. There is a big problem for people of Africa, but it's a bigger problem for the ones outside Africa. But in a way, they have the way to understand the change, because They had to change to go from the dark skin to light skin, to change their features and the hair and whatever to fit into the environment of where they have accepted. Africans have been here a long time and they had nothing to change. It's still the same. So they have a bigger problem, but they have advantage that they understand the work of the emotion and the soul in a different way, slightly more mature than the rest. So those who live in Scandinavia or in North America or in China have seen the path of the change through their DNA and RNA to change them to fit into the environment. So you have already been through a transition. And that transition has given you specific features and emotion. Why all the Chinese have this behavior? Why do all the Arabs behave this way? Why do the Spanish behave this way? You've been not only through the evolution of the physicality, man has been through the evolution of the emotion too, but he never understood. When you go through the evolution of the physicality, it comes from the essence of the emotion. Emotion feels pain. This place is too cold. I don't want to be here. It's painful. I want not to feel the pain so much. I want to fit in. I change the color of my physicality. I become lighter in the skin. I can stand more cold. You haven't become white skin because of the environment. In one go you're gone. You're gone, become white, because the emotion feel of the cold over centuries has created a condition that is transferred the physicality for not to feel the pain of the cold. Now you understand. The evolution of the man by Darwin does not come out of his condition of environment, it comes mainly out of the condition of this emotion in respect to his environment. We have many blacks, nearly 300-400 years as slaves across Canada, America, Europe and everywhere else. Have any of them changed to white? Because the accommodation of living, the harshness of the environment where they live has not accommodated the changes which was needed. Would the black Africans who went and took or were taken as a slave to America in centuries to come, they change to white? Yes, they will. In time they will. Because the emotion, unless they find comfort in their emotion, they stay black. They don't need to go through the transition. But those who went through the transition, what Darwin calls evolution of the physicality, had in essence the emotion behind it. Otherwise physicality would not change. Now you see is the story of all of you have been nano makers, especially Chinese, because they cook in a hot boiling wok, and all of you have been creating nanomaterial and gas, because when you cook you put the salt in it and the water and you eat it. Now you understand, we all have done the transition without knowing that the emotion is the founder and the changer of our physicality. Now we all have to come to understand this cross point. Darwinism explains everything in the physicality because the man accepted, has seen it and not known. But now we understand, if the emotion was fixed, the physicality would not have changed. It's the emotion which changes to be different, to be more attracted, to get attention, which become part of our physical structure of the interaction of the fields of our brain, which interacts with our emotion. And then if you understand this, you have to go a step further. If I receive so much energy at the level that then I can use part of it as emotion to change the physicality, now how can I get to the energy which sends and received to become emotion, which is the energy of the soul? Then you find a path to the soul of the man. It's no good building a car if you don't understand how to build the road and how to drive. It's no good having the physicality of the man, not knowing the road to his existence is the path through the emotion and the soul. Then when you understand this, through the emotion you can change the physicality so rapidly that you become the chameleon of the universe. We've been there, but we never understand. We never understand. We never wanted to understand that the change in physicality of the color, the race, the eye, the color of the hair, the language, all has come and be and shall be through the confirmation and the changes through the soul which handle through the emotion. Go back to the very beginning teachings. In all the teachings in medical, I always explain the existence of the man not only by the physicality, by the emotion. Always in all the health teachings, the first 30, 40 teachings, I always referred to the emotion and the physicality, the blood carrying the emotion. So you have the key. You've been shown how for years, but you did not understand. Is the blood which feels the cold, that it gives the information to the neural system that it needs to change, otherwise it frosts and it causes infection, that the neural system through the emotion and confirmation of the change in physicality to the emotion, in giving the message to the soul, if you want to be in this planet, the condition it is, I need something new, different energy, which comes from the soul to the emotion, which the emotion transfers to what you call the evolution of the physicality. Now, you understand the total, what you call evolution of the man. Not the physical part, which is Darwinism. I have opened the key in past 10 minutes, 20 minutes. That it opens the key to man's life in the space. And I hope, and I wish, and I pray that the man will see the path. This is the path to space. This is the reality of understanding that the change and evolution in physicality of the man, in essence, is triggered by understanding of the emotion, and by understanding that is triggered by the soul of the man, where itself is in interaction with the soul of the planet and the universe, and accordingly it changes the emotion to dimension of physicality. So man become in-dimensional. You don't exist in one dimension, but you exist in the total existence of the one dimension. The totality in respect to each other's understanding of the strength of the work of the position, which is the soul of the earth, and the position in respect to the soul of physicality of the universe. Then you understand how rapidly you will change according to the environment. This is the key. This is the master behind the creation of life, not only on this planet, but across the universe. This is the key to be able to communicate and live amongst others while they are living amongst us. Our soul is in contact and communication with them, but in physicality we are behind the veil of our own ignorance, because we would like to be in the world of physicality. Now that we become passengers of the universe, we have to accept the totality and all three dimensions of it. Because without that one, the other cannot exist. Without the principle, transition, which is the emotion, and the physicality, which is matter, state of manifestation at the point, shall not exist. If you look at it, that in essence, a vapor is still the water, but according to its environment, shows itself in that way. So does it mean even a drop of water has more sense of its evolution than the man itself that it calls itself as evolution? So do we need to build the spaceships to trust that we keep our souls in matter of physicality, or can we go a step further to understand that one can use his own soul to travel to the depths of the universe without the tangibility of the spaceship? As I said in many teachings in the recent past, we don't teach the race of the man anymore. We teach across the universe, as my voice is my soul and is heard across. For those who are in the next stage of the development of the crossing to another dimension of the travels in depth of space, in depth of the space of the universe. In time, man will understand the message as it matures. It's very interesting when you sit across and you listen to that. In this time and age of teaching of the man, we have put the man at the age of nursery of his understanding, with the ones who are in the 6th class and the ones who are diplomaed and the ones who are in university, all in the same class of the university of the understanding of the knowledge of the universe. And what is not understood by the kindergartens, children playing in the front row, means a lot, but those who are masters and philosophers and PhDs and professors in the back row. And the man is on the stage of infancy playing in the front row. As my beloved brother used to say, it just goes over my head. Because then I have to understand it, and then I have to make changes, and then I have to understand what changes will come to what. You have to start understanding the path between the emotion, the physicality, and the soul. And then you understand in what the strength of the soul you need to have the perfect combination of the feelings that leaves you with manifestation of the physicality at any point of the reference across the universe. The soul of the man is the creator of the man. But the only problem we have is we called it a man, because the soul of the creator is manifested in physicality of the created. So, is the soul of the man the God of the man? And has man been in delusion of finding the creator, where the creator sits within the man through the creation of his own existence, according to accumulation and the strength of the soul of the man? I made man in the image of myself. I am the soul, and through the soul I create the emotion, which in transformation of my energy of me, gives the physicality of me. Is there a need for a church? Is there a need for prophets which the man has clung to so fast, not to be able to go through the transition to understand the work of himself and his soul? We don't teach anymore. We inspire the soul of the man to evolve, to be educated by themselves. The schools and the churches and the mosques to abuse the soul of the man are shut from now on. It's the man who has to find a path to his soul, to educate himself according to the point of the universe where he arrives, because not many others will arrive in that point, and there is no book of reference. You cannot go back to earth or go to the library, find out what it says about here, because you are there and then, and you have to understand it's the strength of your soul which dictates your manifestation in physicality in that environment. It's you, through the strength of your emotion, have to be a negotiator between the physicality and the soul. But there is one point. The soul shines all the time at the same strength. It's the emotion which is the filter to the dimension of the physicality. If you understood that, you understand that all the souls are equal in the eye of the creation of the soul. It's man who needs to understand through his emotion how and where to position which filter that it gives the manifestation of the body of the man at the point of the manifestation. Where you want to manifest, or can you manifest in different dimensions across. This is what the stars do. The star radiates its field, and according to the strength of the field in different positions of its shell, of its plasma, you have Jupiter and you have Venus. So the energy of the strength of the star itself has not changed, but according to the strength and the position, it manifests itself in different features and structures. So can we, through our emotion, be visible and tangible in different strength of dimension? The answer is yes. So do stars. So does the essence of the central point of the universe, at that as it feels travels outwards at different strength positions, leads to creation of billions of galaxies and stars, planets, moons and dusts. But in essence they all came from the center. So can a man, to understand itself through the strength of his soul, create and be able to live in different conditions within itself? And the answer is yes. Man will learn this very soon, once you become the passengers of the space. This is the key. This is the breakthrough. This is what we have been trying to teach, but we had to play it step by step. What's nanomaterial, what guns, how you make the guns, but the end product, we always focused on the energy, on the fields, and now you understand those fields is the soul of the man. Today, we have written the science of the man which has been accepted for centuries. Darwin, what we call the evolution. Now we add to that knowledge. And for man even to accept in past half an hour teaching will take years, because he has accepted something, now he adds to add to it that the cause is different. So I have rewritten the history of man. You got to understand, touch yourself, touch your fingers, understand why the nail is there and what the emotion has seen to put a nail in there, and try to understand the strength of the emotion which gives the nail, which gives the skin, which gives the finger, which gives the arm, and everything else. Or understand the entirety of the total, your emotion. And then understand the totality of the emotion. All these tears, happiness, joy, fear, movement, all comes with different filters from the source, which is the soul of the man. The mistake has been, as we said, man only uses 5% of the brain. The other 95% or 90% are never used, because that was easy to fool everyone. But now we know every single cell of the brain of the man works 24 hours a day without a stop, from the time of inception to change of physicality to another dimension. Because how do you know which cell is time to change? Which cell of the heart? Which piece of the cell of the bone, how long is there, where has been an accident, now the energy is not there, it's got to be repaired itself in 2 years time today. You cut yourself, the skin was not due to be changed in another 20 days, but now there is emergency, it has to be changed, because otherwise it bleeds, so new skin comes. Prioritizing the emotion of the pain to change of the physicality of the cut, find this the path to understanding how you can interact with your emotion, that through it you can understand the work of your soul. Become the cut in the life of the physicality of yourself, that with it you understand the cut and the path to the emotion, and through it to understand the filters which you have created, that with it you interact with this environment, and the other end of the filter, what is received from the soul of the man. Then you become passengers of the space. You walk out of the spaceship, there is no land, there is nothing to walk on as you are used to, but you see a thriving community. You become part of it. You don't have the fear of falling through, as you have already fallen through into the passage of the environment, of the level of the strength of them. If I leave you in the middle of the air, you hang and you try to survive before you hit the ground. What happens if I leave you in the depth of the space and community which has no tangible planet for you to walk on, but they have their life, they have their existence, and you want to be part of it. It's so beautiful. You've never seen water falling out of no mountain, but it just showers through. And it's not water, it's the mirage of the manifestation of the fields crossing, and it gives you, to your imagination and the strength of understanding, flow of the water as you've seen on earth. That's the only way you can confirm it. In the depth of the universe, the flow of the fields will become the rivers of life, not the waters. This is what man has to understand. This is what I said, we have to educate the man, that the man in the new dimensions of the space understands and sees the totality. Then ask yourself, why do I have a shorter finger? Why do I have a long nail? What does my short finger confirms in respect to my emotion? Why was I born to be in this shape and such a structure of the fingers and toes and the eyes? What am I taking from the environment to confirm my existence? And what am I giving? through the emotion of my own existence. And if you understand that, you can interact with your own emotion and through it through the soul, that if there is a need to extend your finger, you can do so, because in the environment at that point you need to. And I've said that many times. I've seen this happening in one lifespan of a young girl. But man has the potential to change this speed according to what it needs. Man does not need the spacesuit to go into space. But we had to go through that process of learning to trust that we can exist in the space of the gases of our part. How much do we trust our own emotion will give us how much we can exist in what depth of the universe. What we make filter of will become our manifestation of. Souls without the filters of the emotion become the passengers of the unicos. And not many have managed that because of the fear of not understanding the totality of the strength of the soul itself. Many, many souls in the universe have tried to cross, but the fear of demise have come to become their demise. Trust in existence is the key to existence. And trust in existence is, I do not take, and I do not take what is not to be taken, that is given to me for me to exist. Now make tools to show the strength of your emotion. Now make tools to measure it, because you're a human, you still live in the northern part of this planet, and not in Africa, that there is no scale. Find the scale of the emotion within the strength of the soul of the man, and not by equipments, because they fail in every point. Trust in the soul and believe in existence of the operation of it through the physicality of the manifestation of it, which is the physicality of the man, a tree, a plant, or whatever you like. Now make the tools to measure, because you are used to measuring, otherwise you don't even believe yourself that you can transform and transcend and to elevate your own soul. The trust of the man has been taken from the man partially by environmental conditions initially when the man start moving, and then by those who saw the weakness and fear of the man of environment, they became the bigger menace to the life of humanity in the name of the priest, God knows what, from the old time to the present time. It's man who have to understand the totality to release himself from the shackles of the fear put into man by those who want to control man. I am free. I'm free in all dimensions of the universe, because I have no attachment. I wonder how many of you can say that. Many times I've said, I'm ashamed to be in the body of the man, because the body of the man has accepted the demise of himself and subordinates of himself, where the man has not realized how much knowledge he carries himself. Why? To become subordinate. It's us which allows our physicality to be dimensionized by those who want to abuse it. And it's us that has to rise to the level of understanding of our own soul that we do not need to be part of it. Now, I wonder how many tools of measurement you need to make, or you have found the measure of your own emotion and your soul. Blessed with those who understand. Remember 2 points. You pray. The only bank which you are saving that energy from the pray is your own soul. Remember that 1 point. If you're in a space you speak about, I have to go to church, to mosque, to synagogue or temple, then they see there is a guy there who hasn't understood. The village man is here. Try to find a path in any shape or form between your soul, your emotion, and your physicality. And in finding that path, you mature to exist across the universe. Because then you know what you need from the source to show itself in physicality at the point of the need. So you become the chameleons of your own physicality in the dimension strength of the soul. This is the key. You are a car driving down the road, you switch it, you become a racing car with a high speed. And there is no difference in the work of the man. You have to know which switch, when, and what is the reason and the essence of the change. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Joss Garno asks, could Mr. Keshe tell us more about what is the advantage to get out of time of the physical universe when one...
What? Can you repeat?
Can Mr. Keshe tell us more about what is the advantage to get out of time of the physical universe when one exteriorizes out of it by oneself or through the tools of reactors and star formation, etc.? I think he's saying that he feels he gets out of time, gets beyond time, or time becomes irrelevant.
Of it?
Right.
The advantage comes in what gives you the pleasure of existence. In what dimension? In the universal community and the operation of the universe, there is no masters to satisfy and no exams to pass to get to another course. The change of time and the position in its respect to what you would like to have at that point. I've explained this in the past years very clearly, and I explain this again. As we enter in the new dimensions of the transformation of the man to open the passages of the universal community and in depth of traveling into universe, man will come to understand something very strange. Some of what you call stars, they are in a way stars. They are existing entities. But in fact, if you translate it to the word of the man, they're a spaceship. But you say they've been there from the time man looked into the sky. 1,000,000 years in space is no time. When I park to watch the view, I park. To you is 1,000,000 years. The one in Saturn is 20 years or whatever, or 100 years, and to other one is 1 second. To me, I'm a viewer, I'm a passenger. I park the car and I watch. In time, man will come to understand that some of what you call star spaceships of the universe. They are carrying passengers, and they stay there to you. It's been there from time of whatever to that is a second, just standing there, because time does not exist in the universe the way man has measured it. Because in the dimension of the soul, there is no time. In the dimension of physicality, you have time because you have to transfer the energies which comes from the soul to another in respect to the environment. If you understand why do you change your skin every 28 days, have you stood still why? Why don't we change our skin every 1,000 years? Because the transformation of the energy in and out is so much that it takes so much energy from it that it cannot exist in that level more than that. Man never understood this. You go to the shower and you wash all the skin off. But why every 28 days? The energy transfer, what you call aura, you see, is continuous field transfer that they cannot be more than 20 days, 28 days, because the cell releases all its energy and whatever is received. Now change the cell to change every 1,000 years on the skin of the man. Then you find out still is 28 days on the planetary term he wants to call it. Time is irrelevant. Time does not exist because it's the emotion and the field, the strength which changes according to what it needs, what is available. So when we go to space, we stop to see a new car. Have you seen this new car? It's got 2 wheels and now it's got the yellow color and 2 exhausts. Now in the space, have you seen this spaceship? We thought it was a star up to now. But now we have the same knowledge, the same understanding, the same technology of understanding the reality. You see, there is not many stars in the horizon of the eye of the man. There are many ships.
Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
This is Jocelyn. I asked the question about...
where? Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Quebec, Quebec
Yes.
City. My background is I've studied, it's the first time I'm a panelist, so I just learned how to... Do you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I promoted him as panelist, Mr. Keshe. He's the one who asked the question originally, and he says, I could tell you one good advantage if Mr. Keshe wants. So I thought he might have an idea there. Let's play with that.
No problem. Let's.
Okay. I have been studying spirituality at a very high level. I won't say in which so-called religion, for I have been exposed. But what I have
breaking up. You're breaking up. I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Okay.
Can you start to calm down and try to explain?
Okay. Is the flow okay right now?
Yes. Just keep your voice low that we don't overgo. We get chopped.
Okay. I'll just keep closer from my micro, right?
Yes.
I was studying that I have been studying spirituality for a long, long time, 30 years ago, in a religion of which I have been expelled, right? You have talked about this religion that they were abusers. I think you have been the person who described exactly this religion, and at the same time, all the other religions, they are all abusers, right? Now, what I have learned in this religion, that we can get out of our body. It means getting out of the physical universe. And this week I studied a lecture, a workshop from you, right? Where you was studying about the same thing that I have studied. When you get out of time through your wonderful tools, through some may get out of time just through the famous pain relief pain pen, right? Or those would need the reactor, which I'm trying to build so far. I have not succeeded yet, for I have no time. Some could, like I think he succeeded through the star formation and so forth. I don't know how many succeed out of their body. Getting out of the body means getting out of time, right? And you explain.
No, you don't need to get out of your body. You exist with the new parameters and dimensions, which you call your new body or new dimension you have created. You cannot get out of your body because your body is part of your emotion and your soul.
Yes, but have you already had this experience to getting out of your body without the body
I never
dying?
get body. Everything is within me. I don't need to get out to get to what.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, but
It gets into a sort of a tricky argument is who are we talking about? Is it the body that's trying to get out of the body?
I mean, you can be at the same time in the body and out of the body.
What is your body? If your body is the entire universe, then you're never outside of your body, are you?
This is.
I repeat again. I am what I am.
Yes, you are quite a great man. I can tell you. But have you ever heard the proposition that is spirit? Do we agree that spirit, or we are just the body, or
what do you call the spirit?
The spirit is
soul.
Soul.
I call it the essence of the creation, what you come from.
Yeah. Is it what you call the principal matter in your book?
In a way, yes.
What is the difference between the McGrath field forces and the principal matter then?
The principle is the essence. The magnetic gravitational fields is what the essence radiates out and what it receives from its environment. One is the totality and one is the line of the communication. Magnetic gravitational is the line of communication in respect to totality, in respect to its environment. One is the tool and one is the essence of the existence.
You mean these are the tools? The McGraths are the tools?
Yes, there are channels where you receive and what you give.
Yeah, but they are the channels between what and what?
It depends where you want to extend it. As I said, you have the sun. The sun is the soul.
Yeah.
And the fields which radiates outwards from the sun leads to creation of different entities in the shell of the sun. And then some of the fields return back to itself because of the pull of itself, gravitational itself. So one is magnetical, what it gives out, and one is gravitational, what it takes in, what's not used.
Is the sun a plasma or a matter?
It's a plasma.
Okay.
The manifestation of the sun, any sun, is at the point when its strength changes to the matter state of its strength, what we call the surface of it.
The surface of it?
The plasma.
I didn't get the last word. Sorry.
When the sun radiates out within its gravitational magnetic field,
yes,
the point of the strength of its matter state at a higher level, we see the surface of the sun.
The service.
Of the sun, or the manifestation of the physical existence of it. And then what we see as a shell is the manifestation of the existence in respect to its environment. This is what we call the solar system, the shell of it. So in reality, if you look, I've explained this in the book number 4. I hope one day I publish this. The manifestation of the light on the surface of the sun is the interaction of what has been reduced from the plasma to the matter, that in the interaction of these matter strength with the full strength of the plasma field of the center creates the interaction of what we call the light of the sun. If the strength of higher order to the matter state conversion is not done on the surface, there'll be no dimension. The light of the sun, the surface, will go to the boundary of its own plasma shell, or we call the solar system. At the point of the interaction of the field, the strength of a given strength in respect to the center is where the what we call matter state at that strength is manifested. You call it the surface of the sun. And once that is created, then it interacts with what is created from the higher strength fields internally. And that interaction creates the vision of the light, what we see on the surface, and we call it the sun. This is why we see sun flares. Scientifically, as a plasma physicist, it's very ridiculous in what is explained up to now. But in the spreading of the fields, it's very much like, as I said many times, the interaction of the fields of the plasma of the sun with the plasma of the earth leads to creation of the light for the earth on the interaction of the phase balance between the 4 field forces. And what earth gravitational magnetic field pulls to itself create the light of the day, we call it, on the facing side of the sun. But the same light crosses across the solar system, does not come in interaction with anything, we don't see the light. So the same principle applies to the surface of the sun. Is the interaction of the matter state at that strength with the field strength of the gravitational magnetic field of the center, which is a higher order, instead of interfacing at the surface of the what you call upper atmosphere of the earth. Now this interaction is closer to the higher strength, so creates a higher lights, deeper, stronger lights that we can see it radiating across the plasma of its own shell, which we call the solar system.
Okay.
And at the same time, as it's weaker on the boundary but stronger in respect to the environment of the galaxy, these fields are reflected back because they cannot get through, they're not strong enough to go through, they get pulled back by the gravitational field forces of the sun itself, so it feeds itself. But at the same time, some of this field feeds into the strength of the galaxy, but at the same time, some of the rays of the galaxy penetrate the shell of the sun, and they enter and they become part of the field forces of the sun. So what comes back we call gravitational fields, what goes out we call magnetical, but the sun itself is the essence, is the source. If you look at it, the sun is the soul. The time of the transition from the surface of the sun to the environment where it comes to touch the surface of the earth or the upper atmosphere of the earth is the emotion, which gives, it'll be warmer. If it's further out, weaker, it'll be colder. And then when it interacts with this part, what we call earth, we get the residual. It creates the manifestation of physicality of existence of entity we call the earth. So sun itself dictates how it's manifested in different dimensions according to its strength. That shall be the understanding of the man in respect to his own soul. There is no difference across the knowledge of the universe.
Yes.
A man who doesn't understand.
This
And
is.
we haven't seen the Son creating a church for himself to pray to.
Yes. I have to study this very deeply. I do not understand quite deeply all this, but I will listen back what you said, and I will come back to you with this. But what I have learned in my so-called religion, right? It is that everyone is God in his own universe, right? Are
Yes,
you there?
yes. I
Okay.
understand.
And there is many universes. There is the physical universes, the planet, our body, sun, star, so far. And there is our own universe, which is done of our uh, desire, what you decide, what you want, your own postulate for life, so forth, what you dream. This is your own universe. And there is another universe, which is the physical universe, where you interact with authors, uh, with with the vegetable, with the animals, and so forth, with other humans beings, right? This is many universe.
Yeah, but the
When you,
thing is, let me tell you something, and
yes,
this has caused a lot of problem for religious people with me.
yes.
If the light of the sun changes according to this environment and what it comes to be, how come only man is the only animal on this planet which goes to church?
This is an aberration.
Yes.
I
So
agree with you.
have we seen any cows going to a mosque, to a church, or a temple?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So
That is
we
great.
have created that out of our own feebleness, in not
Exactly. Yeah,
understanding
I
how.
agree 100% with you. Yeah.
So I don't know which church you're
That
going to, but maybe you have to
I
find a
don't
church.
dare to say it, or they could. You have already invited them, and you have them. They are abusers. Yeah, I tell you. Okay, I have been uh, in Scientology. The most now they are the most abusers.
Well, the thing is, put it this way: you've been to Scientology. I live in Accra at the moment in Africa,
Oh
and
yes.
when we drive across the city, we have a very good laugh, because there is a church after church, there is a church of Jesus, there is a home of Jesus, and there are so many churches, and we always say we're going to open the church of Gans, because because
Good.
the
Great.
churches have
Do
become
it.
a way to abuse man.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it depends how many churches now they, because now they've learned, and if it's very you got to understand the history of the Christianity, the way it's gone. The Catholicism got divided into what we call the Protestants, or the Henry VIII division of the religion. But
Yes.
the Africans have taken a step further. If he could separate and make his own church, and he does that, now every man in Africa makes his own church, and you should see it. The most beautiful, hugest building are churches, and they pay no taxes. They loan money at 40%, and they don't pay any taxes to the government.
Oh yes.
Yes, now it's a very good business to be in church business, and they're all churches, huh? They don't call them mosque. The mosque don't have this. There is everything goes to the mosque. But I'll show you a video. I can take you a video from the office to home. We must see, I don't know, maybe a couple of hundred of them. Everybody has a church here. So the Christ name in the name of the church has found many dimensions to milk the man. So it's the weakness of the man which allows this abuse. It's very, very interesting. 5 or 6 of them were the rope and the clothes of the priest, and now They have many, many ways. It's the most profitable business to be in at the moment, calling yourself a church. And this is a lot of it going on across Africa, because Africans have become wise to it. If Henry VIII could do it now, they don't need to pay nothing to Church of England. They don't need to send any money to Vatican.
Could I say something about Ron Hubbard said? Ron Hubbard is the founder of Scientology, right? He said that Africa would save the world. Exactly what is happening now, according to he said how about the Africans, which are more spiritual and more, and they open their arms to you, right? So this is what is happening.
We will see. Maybe but the thing is, the Africans have two churches. One is the Church of Christ, and then they have the old voodoo churches too, the old religion.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone. So they pray on a Sunday to the church, and they go home. They have their statues they pray to, and the rest of it.
Okay. Could I tell you?
Let me explain to you something very interesting. Go back and look at the departure of the last president of Gambia. Last month, when he lost the elections and he had to go. He still goes to the church. He still goes to the mosque or whatever. And then in part of the treasures he could take out of the country with him is all the statues of the whatever he believes in. And he believes more in those than the church he goes to. And he had to leave some of them behind because there were so many of them. They have masks, and each one is to one path of belief and what they think they need to do. They call it, we call it whatever they call it, they use it. So you have to find out, man, even in the name of the church, has got many clothes.
Many what?
Many clothes, many fears.
Oh yes, yes. So, Mr. Keshe, I want to discuss many things with you. I do not want to spread myself out, in one way, but I have two important things to tell you. One, you describe yourself when I nearly finished to study all your key SW, right? Knowledge, shapers, workup. But those with about health, I have not done those, but all the other ones I'm nearly finished. Yeah, what you said is about the same that what I learned in Scientology from Ron Hubbard. And Ron Hubbard said in a very secret issue that he will come back as not this time a religious leader, but a political leader. And when you said that you were recognized by the extraterrestrials as somehow, if I do not mistake myself, the leaders of Earth, I thought to myself, oh, Ron Hubbard is back. Yeah. I don't know if you know that his spirit can split in two. Yeah? Are you aware of this?
We are listening. It depends on the point of view.
Right.
There's always a male and a female, if you call it, but in a way it's the essence of the existence. I was talking to Armand this morning and some work we were doing. And I explained to him, you make a reactor. If you do not have another one that it can give to and take, you cannot show its existence of its field. It's very much when you hold the magnet in your hand. You do not know it's a magnet till you bring something which can interact with, that it can confirm its existence. So is the existence of the Creator.
It's difficult to understand
It's
But
very
I will
simple.
listen.
Very simple. It's very simple to comprehend. We
Mm,
have a soul, and we have a soul which we share our soul with, that it can elevate the soul. We call it male and female. We need a partner, irrespective of sexuality, to be able to manifest or confirm our own existence.
yeah, but this is the physical part of man.
This
I'm
is
talking
the,
about the
this is the,
spiritual
this
part of
is
man.
the, let me explain. There is no way we can confirm the existence of the creator unless it can interact with something to confirm its existence, even though it can be out of itself. We cannot
Mm.
confirm the existence of the sun if we don't have another dimension of strength to confirm it, or by creation of its own strength in reduction by existence of moon, the sun, the earth, and the rest of it.
This
So
is wonderful what we said that. Here, that's great. That's very, very great saying. Now, uh, I'm so happy to talk to you. You know, I don't know what I should say. I have a friend of mine. You know what he confided to me a few months ago. He told that his sheikh in his country has has realized that he's the reincarnation of uh, Muhammad, Mahomet, right?
yeah.
You know Mahomet, the founder of Islam.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think he could help you promote Keshe Foundation uh, through all the Muslims today. If you want, I could
The point.
I
Let me.
could introduce him to you, and he is ready to introduce you to his chief in his
There
country.
is no problem that you
No
contact the
problem.
master. But let me
Great.
explain to you. Let me
Oh,
explain this
thank
one.
you so much.
You're welcome.
This
Let
guy
me.
is saint. He's a saint, a real saint. He's so good. And I have tried to introduce him to you in writing to Italy at the KSSI. I always failed. So tonight it's amazing that I just first could talk to you. And that should I write to Rick Ramon, to
No problem.
introduce him to you, or what?
No
How do you
problem.
want me to
You
do
can
that?
get in touch with Rick and the channels of the communication. We always talk to everyone. You
Great,
got to realize something which is understood by the Islamic world very clearly in
happy. You
the
won't.
Keshe Foundation. The 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 beginning of the work of the Keshe Foundation, when we developed and we spread the knowledge across Middle East, was understood that it'll bring changes which will interact or will come across the path of certain path of beliefs in Islamic world.
Certain
And
part of what?
they believe there are certain paths.
Believe.
If you are
Yeah.
not brought up in Middle East, it's very hard to understand. In and in that composition of understanding, it will change a lot of things in respect how they've been abusing the man. Originally, maybe he's still a listener, or a couple of them are listeners. Originally, we were asked and we were approached when we started the KFSSI that they wanted to send students with the first team, which Arman was part of, people from Jeddah University. And to send these guys from Jeddah University to KFSSI, the world, or they call it the university heads and to do with the government, had to speak to me to understand what this will do, or will it affect by extent of the knowledge the Islamic world, that these will bring the changes. One of the questions which in the conversation we had with these knowledgeable professors from Jeddah University, the panel who had to make a decision if these two guys can join the KF in the Sensano, I had to explain to them that the belief in Muhammad has to be in the heart of the man and not on the mat and the position of Mecca. This was very harsh for them to understand. And we start seeing a lot of opposition from that point, from the Islamic world in respect to the Keshe Foundation. And it was very simple. I explained to them many times, when you go into space, the earth rotates. You are traveling in different dimension and strength. How are you going to pray to Mecca unless the Mecca is in your heart? And this was too hard for them to understand. Taking that physicality away from it was not something they could relate to. I had the same problem when I was in Iran. The problem is very heavy for the Islamic world. In Christianity, you believe in the cross. Does not matter where they put the church, in what direction. In Islam, the thought is fixed. They have a campus, but wherever you go, it shows Mecca. Now you show me a three-dimensional, spherical campus, which anywhere in the universe can point to Mecca. The other point which I raised to them is what happened when comes the termination of this planet with the Muslims in the space. Now we lost. Which dust of the Mecca we're going to accept to be the center of the pray? Man has to carry the belief in correctness of conduct in the heart, in the soul of the man, which he sees it physicality as his soul, as his physicality as his heart, as his brain. And this is the biggest problem which Keshe Foundation has with the Islamic world. I had the same problem with Ayatollah Khamenei in Tehran. I had the same problem with the office of Ahmadinejad in Tehran. They don't call me atheist, but they say he puts a point that we don't have an answer for now. We don't know how to answer it. We go to space, but how are we going to pray? We go to space now and we stay in the space lab. The earth is rotating at 1.5 hours. You are supposed to pray 17 times in one revolution of the earth. Now you pray for 1.5 hours. How many times you bend and get up and pray? Because the evolution is to you, is there. It's one every 1.5 hours. The problem is the man to be strong enough to carry the conduct, the correct conduct in his soul, not in his physicality, irrespective of the position, wherever you are. This is the problem. It's not that there's some, we had the same problem in Dubai last year. The Islamic world is a different mentality. The Jewish world is worse in respect to Keshe Foundation. Because it destroys the basis of the hateism, it destroys the basis to exist when you are equal and brothers, then they have nowhere to make money. Then they have nowhere to influence. Why did the Prime Minister of Israel a year ago, through his national security, head of his security, comes back to us and says, we negotiate with anybody but Tehran in respect to peace between Iran and Israel. Because then they can't sell guns, they can't create mayhem. Peace does not pay the way they want to pay. That's why we get people like the guy in, what do you call it, Salt, coming to assassinate a Jew in the clothes of the marrying a Christian priest to carry assassination. In what name? In whose name? They've gone to the depth of it. We've seen the same. The belief in depth is the cause of the most of the problem between the man and himself. And rabbis, imams, ayatollahs, pope, priests, whatever you want to call them, when they lose that listening to power, that the man listens to his soul than the word of the man which carries abuse in it cannot be correct. This is the problem. When you speak, you can introduce us to sheikhs in Middle East. Most of them know about Keshe. Some of them have used the technology for their own family.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Keshe, I was muted. I wanted to interrupt you, but I'm sorry.
No problem.
I wanted to tell you that in a lecture, means a workshop, you tell something so
Sorry,
very
Josh.
Huh?
Josh, sorry. I was trying to interrupt you there for a minute. That's why you were muted. Is we sometimes don't want Mr. Keshe to be interrupted when he gets into something he wants to discuss. Like so. Anyway, I think that's probably what
So
happened there.
you did mute me.
It wasn't me, it's someone else, but it's
We got
because
gods in the background. They can mute anybody, even me.
Oh,
and things happen accidentally as well. But anyway, go ahead.
okay. I mean, about the Jews, you said something that quite amazing about the Jews in a workshop, a previous workshop. I remember you said that the Jews, they are the one who knows the true story about the Jesus Christ, right? And you tell, if I remember, that I know the true story somehow about Jesus. He was not a good guy. He was a very bad guy somehow. Yeah.
He did a lot of good. Let's put it this way: he
Yes,
did a lot of good, but on the other hand, there was other inclination in the workforce.
you know, he was very choleric. You know, when he went to the temple to wet the Parisian, wow, that was very violent, very violent. Yeah. But at the end of his life, he recanted himself. Is it the right word to recant? No,
He never did till the day he died.
huh?
He never
He
did.
just converted himself. I don't know the word I'm a French-speaking people, right? If I say it in French, maybe somebody will could translate. The word is il s'est amendé. He amended himself, maybe. He and then he was enlightened, right? Is it what you said in the previous lecture that he, at the end of his life, he came back to his sense somehow? He understood and he went enlightened. Yeah. Ron Hubbard said that
Yes.
the Christ had not lived at the time we said he lived. But what do you call it? The Bible was written by a bunch of guys who wanted to make a path of life to help others, and they have taken the life of a guy, a very bad guy, who has been crucified about 200 years, so 100 years before the so-called birth of Christ, yeah. And they patch everything to make it sense and so forth. And it seemed that this guy who lived as the Christ, they have taken the life to take an example of who was Christ. He was a homosexual, right? Christ was a homosexual, it seems.
Let me put it this way.
When he died, he realized all his sin, and he elevated himself so far. You know, it's a pity that I have not prepared the words that I want to say.
You see, let me. I'm gonna stop you there. We got many other people in the background. We got things to do.
Yes.
When you come in respect to level of understanding of number of handful of people we call prophet.
Yes.
We have to understand what benefit has brought to those who made him to be the prophet afterwards. In what shape and form.
Yes. I like very much when you say you are the light. you are over a prophet, Mr. Kesh, because you told that you have something more than these prophets. This is the science aspect with what this, your discoveries about the plasma, the field interaction with the matter, which is now it's very clear with you. You know, you have the principal matter, what they call the antimatter, the transitional matter, what you call what they call the dark matter, and the matter, what they call the matter. So it's so clear with you.
The
But
thing is, as I've written before, we're going to end this conversation now, and then we can always talk in the future. We, in the process of this cycle of educating man, we have brought the balance between the science and the belief of the man in the soul of the man to understand they are the same. As I've written before, in this time, the profits of the science and the soul of the man shall be the same. Where before, when we had what you call so-called prophet, the soul of the man, they abused them the way they wanted them because it was hidden. Where the prophets of the science, people like what we call the well-known scientists, they are still prophets, but they didn't carry the pen of the soul of the man to abuse it. So in this cycle, we teach both the path to the soul and we teach the way this path works. You call one religion and one science. And this way, the way I teach the path into the soul and the comparing it with the path in the physicality of the star, we bring the science and then what you call religion together as one. That man, there is no way to be abused again, because this is the essence of the knowledge of the universe. That's why there are no temples in the universe, there are no churches.
you are the only one who did that.
We are the messengers of the universe, and that's our job.
Yes, you bet, you bet.
Thank you very much. Thank you indeed. Are there any other questions, Rick?
Yes, we had someone that had a question earlier, Marson, that had a question on the connection with the soul, I believe. Marson, do you want to go ahead with your question there? I'll unmute you there. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Where are you from, please?
I'm Marcin, I'm from Poland. And I've got a question about the connection to the soul. Before I start, maybe I will explain something on the whiteboard, if I can. Could you allow me to draw on something white?
Yes.
Okay. This.
Yes. Do you know how to start your? Do you know how to start your whiteboard there on the screen?
Yeah.
Share screen.
Yeah.
Okay. You should be able to there now. Okay.
Thank you. All right. So through our practices in banking, we find out that on our skull, let's say, we have some points that they are activating themselves. For example, in the forehead, in the back of the head, above the ears, and in the other places. But we know that in the middle of the skull is our soul. And I was thinking about how to force this connection between those points into the inside the soul, because I see this as our skull and our soul just like a plasma ball, this electrical thing when you have where you have a inert gas in the bulb and mm, a high voltage generator in here, and it works exactly the same way. If you will put the finger in one spot, let's say, maybe I will change the color in here, the ray from the high voltage will connect with this point. Am I correct, Mr. Keshe?
This is what we see in the plasma balls in the school. Hello?
Yes, yes, exactly. But is my point of view is correct? If I will do, let's say, a banking process, and one of these points will activate. In example, on the top of my head, can I try to force this this point to go inside to my point where the soul is? Is
Yeah,
it
but
the
everything ends up with your soul, but depends what you want to pick up in the passage. If you look at it, if you understand the topology of the brain, let me get my pen if I can get to it. If you understand the topology of the brain, where you put your finger here, in this section of it, it's your physical matter condition. In this section of it, it's your emotional strength part of your brain. And what you have a center is what you call the soul of the man here. So if you put your finger here, you still cross the line. If you put your finger here, you still cross the line. But is how you understand if this crossing the line at this point touches the emotion of fear, or does at this point touches the emotion of joy. Then can we do, or can we reduce the level or the boundary of this, what we call so-called emotion here, to be most of part of the brain, that the boundary of the physicality in many ways becomes very little, and let's say just becomes there. If man matches and be able to do this, then he can control everything directly from the essence of the creation in the center, which is here. Because now you decide the filtering where the physicality is irrelevant. But do you need to put one hand on one side of the head and the other and see what the emotion comes? If I feel good, I feel the strength in my fingers, and then this is where my emotional part of joy is in the brain.
To be honest, I was thinking about it because we know that our left and right side of our body is polarized. There's a potential difference in them. So if we will put like, in example, left hand to the forehead and the right hand to the back of our head, we will establish some sort of connection between those points through the middle of our skull. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
let me explain to you something which has baffled the man. This is the mystery of and separation between the work of the soul and physicality. In the physical life, we have a proton and we have an electron, where the bigger dictates the condition of the rotation or dictates the position of where the fields will go. The operation of the soul is very much different, where the soul, the strongest, is sitting in the front, in the middle, and itself cover itself by its own tangibility. With the electron and a proton, you have a point of reference. With the soul is the totality of the plasma, both in this level of the soul and then the emotion. So the emotion is in fact the electron of the, what you call, the principle or the proton, but it covers it in its totality. And this is the secret of the whole thing in respect to existence of the man. It's so compact with the matter that the reduction is so strong that ends up with the physicality boundary of the physical brain of the man. And then wherever the emotion touches, in the relevance of the physicality, leads to the creation of the physicality in the body of the man. It is in two halves. It has to be, otherwise it doesn't work. Has to be a potential difference, otherwise there is no flow. Yesterday I was at one of the governmental offices, and one of the heads said, we have a small problem. Can I ask the lady to come to ask you a question? I said, yes. She came, she says, my husband is very young, had a stroke. He's only 38. And I have the MRI with me. I looked at the MRI. I said, I don't see any brain damage. She said, but he's paralyzed on the right side. I said, madam, this is the MRI. There's so many pictures here. We don't see any destruction of any cells. There's a sporadic spread of the fields, but we don't see destruction the way we see with a normal stroke. I said, can you explain to me how the physical problem is? She said, he can close his hand, but he cannot open. He can close his arm, but he cannot open. He can bend his knee, but he cannot open the leg. I said, the life of the man is divided in two ways at different levels. One is a contraction, one is the, what you call, retraction. We call it sodium-potassium junction in contracting and opening. I asked her one question, have you got any blood tests? She said, yes. I said, does he show elevation in potassium or sodium? She said, yeah, there was shortage of potassium and they're giving him a lot of injection. It's going on for months, this. I said, yes, but they haven't fixed the depletion of the sodium because it's locked the gate. The brain of the man works the same. One carries a slightly different field strength than the other, otherwise it does not exist. And through the emotion or through the motion of the fields through one side to another, they get the transformation of information through the soul of the man. That crossing through is got a point of reference. This crossing one half to the other, if you look at it, has the point of interaction, which is the existence of the soul of the man. If you look at the shape of the brain, if you look at the position of the brain, if you go back to the teaching we've done in the past, the shape of the brain shows clearly, if you look at the side view of your brain, which is like this, The part which is making it missing, as we taught before, which is this to make it a full plasma, has converted in the physicality of the man. So physicality of the man has close, if you reduce his strength back in, will add to the strength of the emotion and the soul of the man. Then the soul has a direct effect on the manifestation of the physicality, and that's what we were trying to teach today. Then you don't need a spacesuit. Then you don't need to become a monkey, God knows, like a fish for 7 years in a tank as they do in NASA, to change a screw. You become the multi-tool of the universe according to where you are. You have to understand how you can use your physicality to reach through your emotion to your soul. Is done. And this is what you need in the space, otherwise you'll suffer. Man forever will change one clothes to another, one spacesuit to another, one thing to another to survive one condition of boiling, and the other one has to wear from a space to wear a suit to go in the deep sea. But if you understand what we're trying to teach, man, as it says, wherever the rest his head will be his home.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. That explains a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready for more questions?
Yes, if you don't have anything to show.
Well, we have other things that we can show as well, as far as.
Let's take another question and we'll
Okay.
We have still time.
Well, here's a more practical question, perhaps. Is there any need for European engineers in Ghana? Ekmar says, I remember that Mr. Keshe told us he would like to give trust back to Ghana people. So would no European engineer should relocate to Ghana for working for the Keshe Foundation?
We accept any kind of support. What do you call it? The architects and the topology planning of the land has more or less is on its way this week. And what we have to do, we have in the building we showed you as the headquarters of the Keshe Foundation. Now it's going to be extensively used till the building site is finished. At the same time, what we need to do is to educate the Ghanaian public. Now we don't become an island in the country, but we carry them with us. European, American, Chinese, all welcome to carry this teaching process, and with it we'll carry the Ghanaians and the whole of Africa with us. One of the problems we had and we see now in Africa is the lack of the depth of the teaching, that they can take the next steps. Yesterday I was in the factory and we have now appointed new management team in the factory, and strange enough, I was discussing it with Ahmed this morning as part of the management team of the Keshe Foundation. We have appointed a woman, a very young girl, two young girls are the head and what do you call it, deputy head of the Keshe Foundation Ghana, both scientists, both nuclear master degree educated from Ghanaian University and the Atomic Center University. And very simple things needs to be taught that changes the mind. And we are not looking for nationality, European, American or whatever. We are looking in to educate the scientist in the knowledge of the plasma. Done on site, done through teachings. We are trying to, with the new center, to see if we can use the high cable, what do you call it, fiber cable, which is within the university, within the building we have, for you lot, does not matter in respect of the position on this planet, to start teaching a vast number of people in Africa. There is a need for it. You're welcome in to teach. You're welcome into transferring knowledge that the other scientists can learn from. But what we don't want to do is one of my argument that undertaking to the Ghanaian officials and the government is that we will not bring the position that they have to look into the hand of the white man to teach them how to survive and how to develop the technology. But on the other hand, the share of knowledge is needed to educate. It's taken us 10 years to do in the West or in the rest of the world. Africa has been deprived of the internet, so they have not been educated so in depth, unless some of those who have access, continuous access. So yes, we do need. We are colorblind, race blind, but on the other hand, going on the track record of what man has done to himself and his different colors of his color of skin, there is not much trust left in that it'll be good. In one way or another, so much is not abused by the one of the other, but one accepting the other one to be more superior, which is causes most of the problem for me here. I understand we need huge amount of support. We need vast amount of support. We need to build the spaceships to the ground in next 6 months. I'm talking to governments. I'm talking to some world governments that they sponsor the next development here in Ghana. We haven't seen any kind of massive donations from the public because they're too busy in whatever they do. We can support partially through the Keshe Foundation factory we do. And now the benefit from this will benefit the whole of Africa. We started a press campaign in next coming weeks that we bring to play the governments. And bringing the governments into play means we need educated people. We need people who understand the technology that they can transfer to others here and the rest of the world. This is our problem. I'm spending nearly 20 hours a day trying to make sure the mistakes of the past are not repeated, that no one is ahead of the other one and no one is, what do you call it, subject of the other. And this needs a lot of understanding by both sides. And you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome to teach. You're quite welcome to share knowledge with us. We need it, but what I'm trying to avoid is what I've said, that your knowledge is accepted as a knowledge and not superiority of the race. And this is my problem. I see this now living here, that we need to change the course of mentality of the man on all sides, irrespective of degrees and colors, in respect of the nationality. And it's not easy. It's not a very easy job to do. You're quite welcome. We need a lot of support. We need huge amount of support. And as has been said, Keshe Foundation does everything on its own. But when it's the beneficial, those who are around the Keshe Foundation pocket it themselves. Be it education-wise, being manufacturing-wise and everything else. And we give our blessing to them because they have to mature. But yes, we need help. We need huge amount of, especially in a space technology, in reactor development. Because nano and GANs is easy to go. But the space development, which is where my heart and soul and my work lies, is the main part. And fortunately, I have another guy who's more or less in the same level as me with Armin. We spend all our time more or less trying to develop on the space side. And now we have another partner, which is John in Arizona. We push this level very hard to go through, but we don't see much development from rest of the Keshe Foundation supporters. And the development of new systems for measurements or new systems for understanding of transfer of the fields, like what we asked, these are the things we need. We need people who still are involved in the making of the reactors and the space reactors, because this is where we are going. This is the heart of the operation here. As I said, I've transferred my responsibilities on the Keshe Foundation all out, and more or less once we finish with the Ghana situation in the coming time, I go back into the lab. You will hardly hear from me except Thursdays, because this is where I enjoy to be, and this is where I can teach to add to the knowledge the way we were doing in this in Sano, and be sharing it public. But now it's in the hand of Keshe Foundation supporters to start teaching in mass. Go to the radio stations, go to the newspapers. Don't look at the Keshe Foundation, what they're putting on the internet, but look at the knowledge which brings. Explain the knowledge to them, show them what it does, and let them be it. We see the first thing they do now, they go on the Google and see a bunch of rubbish, and then when they understand, they say this is irrelevant. Whatever is on the internet is relevant because what it does. We've seen that in the press in Ghana. Mr. Sylvester bombarded the government. Now he spends a long time in prison. They want him here. They're going to issue arrest for him because of all the things they put on. Welcome. Please call more to destroy. Now the governments are standing for the communities and the people. The officials of the government in South Korea will knock on this door very soon. We don't sit silent, but we act very straight. And we don't do it in hiding. Because people like who stand around, everything is recorded. Damaging people through trying to be on the internet does not work anymore. You go to the people and say, this is what it does, this is what it is, this is the water which works. We work very hard, but at the same time we need to bring groups of Keshe Foundation together. We need to bring masses of supporters in the field of their speciality to work together, to move out of KFSSI teaching into the mass teaching in media. How to make gas, what does it do? How come you can take so many grams of one water with nothing in it and so many grams of the other water with nothing in it, and you can walk away with diabetic? People lose their life, lose their arm and leg. The Keshe Foundation is the only organization which has the process, very simply can walk you out of within a few days out of diabetic. And they call it a criminal. Those who stop us teaching for people to save their lives are the criminals, which means they have paymasters. We are watching a lot of things. We spend a lot of time with officials and the others around the world now. Because it has become clear, one man paid by his paymasters as a king and one police officer who can issue any documents have become controller of destroying the most advanced knowledge for humanity. A crook, a pedophile. A man who's killed many scientists. Now the police around Europe are targeting on it. They realize what's happening. We don't play. You have to go out and teach, not just in Africa. You're welcome to come to Africa. We need you to come to Africa. But come with the hand to teach that the humanity progresses. This is what we need. We need huge, go to press, go to newspapers, go to ministers, give them a water. We release, you will see, in the Keshe Foundation in Ghana, we got to the point that legislation has been bypassed by the officials themselves and the government because the huge number of people with diabetic need it now, and it works. It works within 3 to 5 days. People with insulin don't touch insulin after a week, 2 weeks. Pure water is your knowledge. It has to be shared. You don't need to go to kill animal to get a guinea pig, whatever. It's just a pure water. You have high blood pressure. Within 3 to 5 days, we have people connected to the governments which they had high blood pressure at 220. Within 3-4 days, drinking the combination of the waters we developed, they have come to 160, 140. They see it. They are the ones who sit with the government. This has to be out. World presidents, world families of the world leaders, they're all sick. It's you to decide, not us. You have to teach. that we have to change our teaching process. I see a big problem with our teaching process. We have becoming inward looking, teaching each other more and more. We have to go back to what we were doing a year ago before we saw these terrorists on the internet. We published the Panama bank accounts of the guys who teach you. We published the people who came to us in Germany to learn how to make the battery, and now the battery is getting produced in Singapore. On the same name accounts of the companies which are sitting in Belgium. Everything in the world police is watching now. They have opened their eyes how one man, one pedophile, sits in Belgium and writes whatever he likes. And he writes, I'm still free. Soon you'll join Mr. Alan Sterling. Write as much as you like. But these threats has brought us to become inwards, but we have to go outwards. Go and teach, go into press, leave leaflets. This is, you make it, we don't say. This is the process you can produce to walk away with diabetic. This is the thing you try, you walk away with high blood pressure. This is the process you can walk away with typhoid. This is the way you walk away with malaria. I don't say, follow this, these are the people who've done it. We have to go outwards, go mass teaching. Some of people who start doing the workshops, they start making a lot of money out of it. Good luck to you. If that's why you came to the foundation, but it allows people to understand more, to be able to improve their lives, you're quite welcome. Mass teaching of the Keshe Foundations who put workshop at the moment has become money making for those. How much we can charge that we can have more. No problem. But we have to go outwards. These people who are calling and threatening, you've seen more people start coming to teach now, because we put those guys in Austria and the other places who are threatening in their hand. They know where they sit. Let them shout as much as they like. Now police forces are watching them. Now the work has started. They wrote what they like. Now we deliver documents to the forces, to legal entities, to see who these are. Why do you have a Panama account and then you transfer a company which owes nothing to Australia, and then from that Australian company you open a company in Singapore, and whoever becomes the opposition to Keshe Foundation, you go to Singapore to get money. You want us to release the documents? We show you. One man who's killed and raped so many people now has become the voice of another bunch of killers. We saw with Alan Sterling, he became free energy. Free energy term was to bring us free children, energy of the children. Who went to support it? The same man who writes against us now. Because he's one of them. Birds with birds, foxes with foxes. Go outwards, don't be afraid. These telephone calls, these threats, now they come to us. There is a warrant to be issued for Mr. What I call South Korean. Come to Ghana. We want you. We'll have a present for you. You called, many is all recorded. Come in, Mr. Sylvester. We talked with the Korean government. You will be knocked on the door very soon. Your activities are well open, recorded. The same sitting in Holland, the same sitting in Belgium. Now we start talking. When we talked, Alan Sterling walked into a prison for life, because we don't talk out of line. Writing shit is very easy, but when you deliver documents to the tax office that there are Panama accounts with all the criminals in this circuit, they all have a Panama account. We found all of it. And it goes back 20 years, not now, 30 years. They've been defrauding Belgian government. Everything at 2 gigabytes of information is in the hand of the world police now. Let them be free. I'm still free. You'll be very free. But who's the next target to kill? Those who sit and they think they're hiding, we are walking. Come to Africa. Governments are waiting for you. We'll give you a very good hand. What you deserve, you will receive. Don't be afraid to teach. Don't go according to just because you can come to Ghana. Tune, Go to the Ghanaian embassy, go to the African embassies. As we want to teach, we don't want to come here, but make facilities for us to teach. We make facility for you to teach here, but there is a problem with the internet. There is a problem with the energy. African nation needs this technology more than anybody else, because we have taught well in Europe. Now it's time to teach the others. In South America, we have the same problem. In Central Asia, in India, we need to teach. We got so concentrated trying to develop one, we have overlooked the others. We have to teach. Yes, we need you in Ghana. All of you who know the space technology. We have enough with gases and everything else. We put new products in the market here. But we need people, experts like Arman, like John, like the others who went into the GaNs and plasma technology and you made the reactors. Yes, we need you here. We need your knowledge here. We don't want to make a condition that it becomes again the mess of before. But my target is to teach Africans at home that they come back home the way everybody goes. It's a very beautiful thing by one of the world leaders. He says, when the whites come to Africa, they're called expat. When the Africans go to Europe, they're called terrorists. Why don't the Africans become expat as well? This is the state of mind we have created for ourselves to abuse each other. And this is what we're trying to stop. We need your knowledge, yes. But try to teach in your environment and go outward. Try to teach very, very heavy. Outside, in your environment, go to your television station, says this is what it is, this is what it does. By the way, please look at these facts about empty cache. The ones, we put them out ourselves now first, before they look. I would say these are the guys, look at the honest thing when I just said, these are the big supporters of pedophiles. These are the people who are trafficking children. They immediately, they shelve it. Don't hide it, you're scared of what they put. No, go and put it out. Because do you know what it shows? It shows our strength. One man has terrorized the whole humanity. One pedophile, one who's raped his own children. And then is telling to confess to raping both of his children. And we saw who was defending him and has started defending. He thinks he found the support. All the ones who sit around him, watch. They're all pedophiles, all rape their own children, or they're in that process. Or they have killed somebody in that process. We have a full profiles on them. And they have terrorized. One pedophile has terrorized the whole world on Keshe. Put it out and show them, this is it. Look on the Facebook, he sits next to him and is in prison for 25 years. And they're in child trafficking and killing. So the press, the government, they just say, forget about it. What is the knowledge? Let us know what we are falling behind. Mr. Sylvester has bombarded the governments and everywhere. Now there is a warrant for him. Please come to Ghana. They're waiting for you. You spend the drinking time. What we've done? We've gone to the Korean government. All the documents is in hand. You'll get knock on the door. I don't know what they're going to do with you. But what we know, you're in the process of the same people as they killed me, they tried to kill me. Now you're in there killing other scientists. A Jew claiming to be a Christian, wearing the badge of Knights of Malta who stole money from to kill more. Don't be afraid. These people have played all their cards. Now go out and teach. Anybody who came to show anything, they called, they threatened their children. We've seen it with Alex, we've seen it with the people in South America and everywhere. Now they know, they move, we watch, we are working with your own prosecutors. Let them write. Please, Mr. Sylvester, come to Ghana, we are waiting for you. The prisons are ready for you, warrants are ready for you to arrive. Please come and make one more call. You'll be done international Interpol arrest for you. Please do, and write more rubbish in the background. We found out who you are, we kicked you out because Knights of Malta told us who you are. That's why you were kicked out. And you took 30,000 from the Keshe Foundation with a false documentation of who you are. When you arrived, you couldn't prove. Your application form was all fraud. That's why you got kicked out. And then it happened, you came from DL to assassinate with a black man. The black man walked into the teaching room when you were sitting there and you had to picture it. Now everything is clear with the police in Italy. We call you back. Don't be afraid of these people. Start teaching. It's time to teach the man to be free. This technology is to free the man from disease, from energy and everything else. This is the key to the progress. We cannot stop. But these hooligans of internet have played their game. You don't want to know the others what we know they've done in China. At the moment you will hear on the news. The same people who worked with those people in Antwerp. The process is to share knowledge freely. The process is to understand freely how the knowledge will change our lives. We are not here to stop corporations, we are not here to go against pharmaceuticals. We are actually telling pharmaceuticals, can you make this, that it makes it easier for the others to use. Now, it's very easy. We can show, the scientists are showing here, within 5 days, you can reduce your diabetic, your insulin. Within 5 days, you can reduce your high blood pressure by just the water in the right combination. You show us anything in the world which can do this. Within 48 hours, we have changed what's been the curse of Africa, typhoid. Because we have them here. In Europe, you don't have it. It's something belonging to somewhere else. Here, they walk to us. I have this, can you help? Yes, this is what it is, that's what you need. Centuries we haven't had answer for these things. Now there is an answer, few cents. We're not talking about thousands of dollars. $1 or $2 saves a man's life. The technology is beautiful. What it's bringing to humanity is beyond imagination of the man, except for one pedophile who even tried to kill me. I tell you something very strange. Now let them write. They have released a picture of me behind a computer the day I was, the last pages of the book was done, the first book, the day the master had a stroke. I was given, I was sick at that time. We thought I got sick in Iran when I came, but I started getting sick when he started writing the book with me. When I arrived, when I got picked up in France, I was given a poison, exactly the same process as John did to me in the Sensano. And then he took a picture with his laptop, because I didn't have an Apple at that time, that his mission accomplished for his bosses, that now, you know, he must have had a poison, he's going to die, because I was forever in hospital trying to survive, but he was feeding me as he was writing, helping to me to do the pictures in the book, poisoning me. He ate the chalice of the poison himself by mistake, most probably, and he had a heart attack. And then he says, I had a heart attack. Yes, you, God knows what, you've been poisoning me. All the documents are in the hospital. We're not talking out of line. The same thing as John gave me a cup of soup to kill me, the same way as they gave a cup of soup to Mr. Slout in Holland to kill, they killed him. This time, the man who gave the poison by mistake drank his own poison. And that's why he had a brain hemorrhage. Or it wasn't a brain hemorrhage, he had a heart attack. That's what the poison does. When they give you arsenic with Donabella, it gives you a heart attack. And then he puts a picture in there. I had a heart attack when I was, you dumb guy, you ate your own poison and you nearly killed yourself. That's why he wouldn't administer any poison to me, because last time he killed himself. This is the way they work. We are watching everything. Now everything is transparent. They intimidated us that we came in, no more. We opened the door to the governments, we open and teach. Don't come to Africa to teach. Teach in your own countries. Go on the streets and say, you got a diabetic, This is yours, it's free, you make it. This is a nano making, this is GANS making. This combination of what you do, it costs you less than $2, you walk away. Pharmaceuticals will fight. Man can do whatever he likes in his house. The biggest problem at the moment for humanity is stroke, heart attack, mainly through high blood pressure, through diabetic amputation and everything else. Cost less than $5, you can walk away with it. And the documents are in the hand of the government. And now they try to destroy character with whatever. Those who rape their own daughters. How much we stood from Sterling. Rick had a heart attack. Vince didn't know what to do with the attacks on the website. Because when they are cornered, they write any shit to walk away. And now it is, we see it. The man has gone and taken a picture from a golf club where he's buried the bodies of the children. Now we know where the children are buried in Belgium because he's gone to the scene of his own crime. And he's posted it because nobody knew except him. Prosecutors in Belgium are coming on your door, sir. Your bank account in Panama is in the hand of the tax office in Belgium. Your accounts at what they call it, max whatever, and all the businesses you've done hanky-panky is all in the hand of the tax offices of Belgium. All of your team. Not us anymore. We have delivered. You spoke, we delivered. Over 20 companies over 10 years hiding money and defrauding people and taking companies and killing people and opening bank accounts. If you don't have any money, why do you need a Panama account, Mr. DL? Securities, please release his bank accounts in Panama and the facts about Dirk and his associates who murdered in Holland. Now you see why they're jumping and shouting, because they know we know too much. Please release the companies which are sad, fact-filled. I have nothing. What I have is on public. We don't have nothing to hide. People in the security, can you please release the Panama accounts of Mr. DL and send a copy to the tax office in Belgium, please? Thank you very much. If you don't have a stolen from a man, you killed his money, you don't need a Panama. How many of my listeners, my students have Panama accounts, which just carries a lot of money? And companies in Luxembourg, all has been registered. You talked, we deliver documentation. You had a police force to go to prison to kill, now the prosecutor are opening the bloodline. The officer in Belgium, in west of Belgium, you're on the hand of investigation by the police force of yourself internally, sir. Call him, call Mr. Delannoy. He's on the investigation for a lot now, murders that now is opening up. The government has set up prosecution against him, hidden, but we go public because now he knows he has to live with the fear of his own thing. Call him please from Austria. The thing is, they try to intimidate us, to destroy us. Now we deliver that they fear of your own life. How many companies do you want me to tell you? Does it matter? If you want to know what the way they do and how they're involved and why they have a company in Singapore with the same guy, you transfer a $1 account to Australia. Governments have started asking for the accounts which have been set up for defraud and kill and transfer money through. Now, we talked, we have delivered. Let us see how much you can deliver. Please release his, what do you call it, his Panama accounts. A man who claims to be so straight. We showed he betrayed the Belgian politician because he was exposing him as a pedophile. Now you see a thief. You're welcome. Mr. Sylvester, please come to Ghana. We are expecting you. You made a lot of calls, they want to see you. And please come with all the references you have in your hand. Because Knights of Malta are waiting for you too. We release, please release the letter of Knight of Malta about Mr. Sylvester was stealing as well, please, on the deck. Then you see it, that the police in Hungary is waiting for him for deception and theft. They want to hand him over. They want him back there. Security, can you please release both the letter from the Knights of Malta about Mr. Sylvester, who he is, and the same from Panama accounts and other accounts of Mr. Perfect DL, the same as Alan Sterling. And the pictures where the children are buried. And he's gone and taken it after the confession on the internet. Now we know. We close the case very rapidly. And if anybody tells you from now on, the guy says, go on the facts about Keshe Foundation, look his Panama accounts, and Mr. Sylvester is wanted by the police in Hungary by stealing 265. This is the email from the head of Knights of Malta, which are responsible for security of many world leaders. Now you understand. Please, anytime we release this to support you. We don't release you to tic-tac. We took our time. From now on, you said, you go public, anybody says, oh, by the way, when you go on internet, there is facts about Keshe, victims of Keshe, but please see what Keshe Foundation is doing, why they are made all this false rubbish, because this is the Panama account, this is what they wanted, they're a bunch of thieves, they're all working together and murderers. We release more documents about the murder of people in Belgium. And at the moment, Police of Holland has opened the case of Mr. Slot. Mr. Good guy in Belgium, writing so fast, start running. Everything ends up in Belgium. And the African police is looking how all the children are ending up in Belgium on your book. Please come to Ghana. You have a lot to answer. All of you. We opened, we support our supporters. You ran, fear, whatever they write, we took our time. We took our time. 8 months with Alan Sterling, we got him into prison for life for raping his own daughters. The same as Mr. Blonde Blue Eye in Antwerp. Born in Kinshasa, brought up in Kinshasa, enjoying the color of the skin to rape little girls of Africa and bring them back into Africa, to Antwerp. You want us to release more? Now we know the path. There is a lot of work is done, but we release it. Now you understand. Please release all the bank accounts hidden, and please, if you're a Belgium listeners, call your tax office, say how this guy has stolen so much from us. If you don't have money, you don't need Panama accounts. If you don't have it, you don't need Luxembourg's account. If you don't have money, you don't need banks in the United States to hide money in different names. Please use the facts about Dirk and release it to your police force, to your tax office. We have already delivered everything. Why a man who has no money needs a Panama account? How many of us have you seen any beggars on the street having a Panama account? Thieves do. And the people who murder, and if you look at the time of opening of all these things, is the time when the scientists, major scientists have died, have been killed. And you find nowadays they all go to Singapore. Anybody who's been in touch with DL finds his way to Singapore. Sylvester was in February of this year, or last year, trying to entice other people because he went for his payday. The same with the others who we kicked out of the Keshe Foundation. And the company was shut yesterday, or this week. A lot is coming up. The strange thing is, all are his team. Everything you dot starts with him in the middle. That's why he was writing and shouting so much rubbish, because he knew we were at him. Now we release it. I would like to know, out of millions of listeners, how many of you have Panama account? How many of you do you need Panama account? Unless there is a lot to hide. Panama is where they hide all the monies stolen from deception, fraud, killing, stealing, and DL has one. Security, please release it on him. And the same, you see the letter from Knights of Malta. We just deleted the private addresses, what they say in there, what is stolen. And we have given all the documents to the Korean embassy. Soon we'll knock on your door, sir, because there is more than what you think. You're connected to a lot of murders and kidnapping. And it's all black and white documents. We don't talk like you're calling and pressurizing the press. Press got so fed up that they came to us to release it. Now they asked me to release, now we release. Go on the Dirk, facts about Dirk, and see Panama. And if you're a Belgium, and if you're a correct people, if you're a Dutch, you're correct people, call your government, say how come there is a line for fraud, deception of tax people in Belgium. Call them. How come this guy's got these accounts and you do nothing about it? Unless, of course, he sits with the king, isn't it? We kill together. He's published a picture of where they say their children are buried in the golf club in Kanaka. He's been there on the release picture. We've taken all the things. The police is on top of it. Why do you go and take pictures from where they say girls have been raped and murdered? He's released. The date of it is 2008. It's not new. And 2 weeks before, the girls have published how they've been raped and killed in that golf club. He went to the scene of when it's done. Now you want to know, please security, release the pictures of the golf club, let him see. That's from here with his signature, his name on it, on his website, hidden website. We talk, but with evidence. We talk with evidence. Alan Sterling walked. Now we delivered everything. Panama accounts, everything else, pictures of the murder site, being involved in the murder of people in prison. We've given evidence. There are prosecutors across Europe are running with this, how to get this thing out of control. We need your knowledge, but I released this information today to show you you are free. Tell them to go. When anybody tells you, says, yes, but have you seen this guy, what he's trying to cover? And give the reports of the Sterling Allen too. These are working together. Bunch of Italians, 2 daughters, they both raped their own daughters. Cubically happy. They said we are talking rubbish about the Sterling. When he got in, we don't hear it because it's solitary. He's giving more and more information. His information has ended up with the arrest of 4,000 more pedophiles across the world. Now imagine if they open the computer of this guy. Most probably 500,000 of them, and most of them are Belgians. Go on the facts about Dirk and call your tax office. Why is he, and how come the police officer of Belgium works with him and they're hiding everything from him? It's a well-organized criminals, and they thought they silenced us. But now we give you the tool. Yes, yes, there is facts about Keshe. Please give them. Victims of Keshe, and everything that says, look who's written, this is it. The money has stopped, they don't get any more children. And then we give you a link, please go on and read the British report, how all the children stolen from Ghana, or kidnapped from Ghana, or whatever, end up in Antwerp. I'll give you the link next week. The securities will release it. And end up with him, all of it. British police is absolutely fed up with how many children are disappearing out of Ghana into Antwerp in the hand of this guy and his team. And they are picked up at the airport. We found out the process. When we said about Alan Sterling, everybody said blah blah. We have found out how they are trafficking. They're taking children from orphanages, because in orphanages they have no birth certificate. They use women as donkeys. At the airport, the police officer, who is friend of him, and they work, they just separate the mother, who's a false mother, and the child. The child goes for trafficking and sexual abuse. Now you know. Now we let you know to know how they operate, because this is your strength. We release this now, that anywhere you go to presses, this is what we have, what we deliver. By the way, these are about this, and by the way, look at the facts. These are written because these are the hands that have been exposed, and Mr. Sterling is in prison. The press just ignores it. They just don't want to know. We want to know what is coming in. This is our strength. You took a lot of battering from these people. Now be proud that you can save humanity and serve humanity. This is our strength. I stayed silent. Past 2 days, the press is pushing me to release this because it has to be correct. The police in Holland, the police in Belgium, the prosecutors in Belgium, who are investigating Mr. Delannoy now for murder of the children and trafficking at the train stations, are investigating him. Even the prosecutor of the prosecutor is getting investigated because he gives documents to him to do. Please call Delanoa. Tell him it's open. We are waiting for the same. Italian police is waiting for all of you because you carried the murder in Italy. Fabio, you murdered, you thought it was easy to do. That was your biggest mistake. Your history of the past is opened up. Why do you need a Panama account when you're a straight man? Please, Keshe Foundation support is in France, in Belgium, and in Holland. Send these to the tax office of Belgium. Bombard them with, we want to know why this man has so many fraudulent accounts. I don't. We have one sits in Holland. We have one now in every company which we run. As a director, I carry nothing in my personal name. I eat, I pay through the foundation, I collect the cent, it goes in the foundation. That's how it'll be. The foundation belongs to you. They damaged us, we stand our own protection by the request of the police. There is a man in prison in Belgium, he should be a free man because he didn't carry a murder. Mr. Bachman is free. DL managed to kill to get the suitcase which belonged to Mr. Slout, because the key for decoding was in it. And a man is hanging around the prisons for nothing. He lost all his weight because he has the connection with Mr. Delanoa. They could frame him up the way they tried to frame us. Now it's open. Everything is on the table, Mr. the smart guy. Sure, go to tax office and say, by the way, you don't need to go. They already have it. It's already been furbished. The investigation on you started 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago by the Belgian Federal Police and the tax office. And you never declared any of them, so you can't say I'm innocent. A thief, a pedophile, child trafficker. Now you know why he was writing so much, because he could see we are serving around everywhere. Be very strong. And when you go to the police, when you go to the press to show the beauty of it, say, by the way, there is something about Mr. Keshe Foundation, facts about the victim and the rest. Anybody writes they're all pedophile, the facts about the Keshe is there. Facts about their card there too. Why he's writing? Because this is the evidence we have solid. The problem is not the technology. The problem is this technology is so lucrative that anybody will kill for it. But now it's so cheap that nobody needs to kill, but they can save life. The reality sits with us. In fact, if you want to know, we have everything to be in our possession to be delivered. We can deliver everything. The energy, the space, the agriculture. The reality of how the whole structure has been used to save mankind. How we need to do things, how we need to understand how it works and be open about what we have. How we communicate the knowledge across borders, across nations, across each other, that we develop the next race of human to be independent, to be trustworthy of himself, that he doesn't do a crime, that he allows him to become close to his own soul, that he can survive the span of universe. This is our problem. This is our vision of changing mankind. And these people have a lot of problem. These people have a lot of problem because this way does not allow them. The police investigation in Ghana now start looking how DL has been trafficking children out of orphanages, suddenly disappearing, 200 a year. And they all go according to a British report which we release into Antwerp. They are picked up at the airport. Why should a child be trafficked if the soul of the man was so high? We should be able to stand. There is a very, very interesting company. Look at the matrix in the United States and see how it connects with Mr. Smart, with DL. Company set up in the United States to defraud Belgians. Now they can't say this guy was a criminal, this guy was a fraudster, this guy was a, I didn't do when we released his name. Now he doesn't publish much on his website on the Keshe, facts about Keshe, because it's in there. He is the head, we put that, what do you call it? The head of the website. The man he calls a fraud, he's the head of his website. Now, please walk into the tax office of Belgium authorities and say, my name is so and so, and I've defrauded you. How much we want me to pay back? But we don't know how much, because all the people have diverted into Singapore now. He's transferred a worthless company into Australia, and the same man transferred it to Singapore. We have all of it. The tax office have all of it. Mr. Smart Alec. But now we're going to release the name of the children you've killed very soon too. Then there is nowhere for you to hide. The first 2 weeks somebody you raped is your own 2 daughters. Alan Sterling dead. Be proud. You carry as knowledge seekers at Keshe Foundation supporters the technology which can change the humanity after thousands of years. In the spirit, in soul, in food, in survival, and everything else. Not to be hiding and ducking because of one man who has a paymaster and a police officer who picks up children at the airport. Please write to Mr. Delano, because he's under investigation by the prosecutors in Belgium and in the European community. Write very fast and give him a recording of this too. And tell him all the banks is gone with the forged letter of a terrorist, all been recorded. The only path for them is to jump off the cliffs. And even that did not save the, what do you call it, one of the paymasters in England some years back. Be proud what you do. We had no problem. There was no allegations till the biggest murderer on this planet of children appeared, and the scientist. Now we release documents, nothing else. We don't make accusation. We started to push to get more. They released more what we wanted. They gave us indication, direction in their private communication. We use it through the securities. Now we release it back to the police. Very, very interesting. I tell you, we open a facts about Keshe Foundation supporters. You tell me how many of you have Panama accounts, Phoenix account, Luxembourg's companies, unless you are and the beauty of it is that everywhere he talks about, he is greedy, he's only after money, blah, blah. I'm not against the foundation, I'm against Keshe, because it shows I'm only after the money, because if I get Keshe done, I get the head of the Keshe Foundation, I can steal everything. That's all it is. None of you saw it. None of you saw it. And everywhere he speaks about money, he's after the money. Here I have only one account, I don't have Panama accounts. So it shows the trend of the mind of the thinking. He's written, I have nothing about the foundation, because now if I get rid of the Keshe, now I become the head, I can steal the rest, Panama accounts gets filled up again. And other companies. Now you understand why the accusation. Man only talks the way he works. So, Mr. DL, you're on the 11th floor. The only way for you is the window to jump. You chose to kill children. You chose your own path. We don't. The knock on the door is one way into prison, or as you said yourself one day I might jump out of the window. It's your own word. Maybe you have to choose it, because that's your way, the only way out of covering all the mistakes you made, hurting humanity. I got sick when I started arriving got picked up by him at Paris airport when I returned from Iran. We thought there was radiation. But now that we matched the documents from the hospital in Belgium and in Italy in past few weeks, we found the same pattern of poisoning. And he drank his own poison and had a heart attack. The same way as our Slat was killed, it was planned for me, and then they tried it again. He was chicken to come. He sent John to come and give me poison. And this time he drank his own poison and heart attack. He didn't have no problem drawing a few pictures. He's working 24 hours on the net. He doesn't have a heart attack or brain hemorrhage. He ate his own poison. The last cup, which was supposed to kill me, he drank by mistake. I don't know what happened that day. God loved me. But he ended up with attack. You can imagine with me, which I was already in process of internal bleeding and everything else, liver cancer and everything we thought was going on because of radiation, but it was because of his poison. I was perfect when I came from Iran. He drank his own, and then he took a picture for his bosses. I've got everything, and he published it. I had a heart attack when I was doing. He was stupid and drank your own poison. Brain hemorrhage, heart attack, exactly like a slot, exactly like what you did to me and Caroline. So don't blame nobody. You became the victim of your own poison. And please, I hope you put all the monies in the bank account, because your children will not see it, because it goes to the children you killed from Africa. You have to understand, the white was brought to Africa, and the hate of it, when he went back, he take revenge by raping and killing. It's brought up in Kinshasa. Abrunese. He's transferred. If you look, John who poisoned us in Italy, again, another white man brought in Africa, in Kinshasa. Friends from childhood. I can't do it, you go and do it for me. Don't be afraid. We're giving you the tool. We release more about them, that when you go to press, go out and teach. When you teach Keshe Foundation, by the way, go on the facts about the Keshe, victims about the Keshe. They didn't exist since one we arrested one, the rest have started, and these are about the guy who writes about the facts, because the real facts are here, in black and white from the bank accounts. Walk into the tax office and say why you have a Panama accounts and Luxembourg accounts and companies in different names around the world to defraud your own government. Be proud. You carry the most powerful technology to change the course of humanity, and teach it. You don't need to come to Africa. Teach it across the world. Teach it that it changes the course of humanity. Teach it that it exists. I want to tell you something very interesting regarding Mr. Sylvester. He claims to own a patent, which when he came to us, he said he's the own patent owner, whatever, of a technology. We have found out this patent technology belongs to Japanese, it's stolen. He'll be released. Please release that too. The guy is habitual thief by nature. He came to kill to get paid. Please return the 30,000 euro which you received by deception from the foundation, because your application was false. Anywhere in the world, nobody would have given you a penny. We trusted you. We're dealing with it straight. We didn't know you're another assassin sending by your paymaster. All your communications together in the background, release them on the internet. How Sylvester and the lover boy talk to each other. We are monitoring everything to protect Keshe Foundation. Now we release. We've been asked to release by the press. Now we release. Go and teach. Teach heavily. Teach outside. Teach openly. Take the technology where it changes the humanity. I enjoy serving Africa, because it's time to bring pride back to the continent. It's our mission to have the first spaceship flight out of Africa, to change and elevate the station of this continent, which is in so much abused by the white man, like the yellow. They came, they brought up, and then they raped their children. And they killed their children. And they go and take a picture where they raped the children in Canuck. The father, the same as the son. So is the king. Understand one thing. Till we don't wash what we wash, we cannot go to the next step. Because the burden of not us serving humanity will keep us back. We don't need conferences. We don't need to gather in places. We gather the knowledge and we spread the knowledge. If you're a Dutchman, call the police in Utrecht and say we want the case of Mr. Slout to be fully investigated. The Telegraph in Holland has a full dossier of where the bank accounts are and how they operated to kill a man to benefit by decompression. These are all the benefits of us being able to serve humanity, to release one family out of the pressure that DL and his team has put on them for 30 years, 20 years. I tell you how ruthless they are. They kill the man, they give him a poison, and then the family being poor, because this was supposed to come from knowledge of a man, they call the family because this briefcase, which was carrying the code of the decompression, which now worth billions, now as we all know what it is, and we send documents on compression. This man found out this 20 years ago. They tell the poor family, the wife who's lost her husband, if you bring the briefcase, we give you 2.5 million guilders for the briefcase. The rest is ours. The family being desperate, they deliver the briefcase to the office of the lawyer. They tell them, the briefcase disappears, and 19 years later, the family has not been paid a cent. That briefcase appears 8 years later in Belgium, and they kill 2 people for it. Again, fingerprint of DL on both of them. He's involved in both cases. Documents are there. This is how they work. Read about the life of Jan Slout. SLOOT. They gave him a poison exactly the way they gave me poison. The poison killed Slout, the same done by DL, but this time by mistake somewhere in the cafe he drank his own poison. And then he couldn't carry out. Now he senses another expat, Kinshasa born, bred Mr. John to the Sensano to give me again a cup of soup to poison. The same pattern, the same people, the same name. We don't accuse now, there is enough evidence everywhere. And then you understand how they operate. Police of Utrecht will follow everything you do. You have to request the body to be exhumed because the family is doing. The Telegraph has all the details. The prosecutor in Belgium regarding where the suitcase of Beckman after years appeared, the case is known as Beckman case. Backmann. They wanted to get the briefcase back because it had the codes of decoding. After 8 years, they still couldn't decode whatever they had, they stole from the beginning. They killed a woman, and then Delano killed the man in the prison, who was the witness, who organized it for them. His name is Marco. Brought the brother to insanity, losing your brother in prison out of nowhere. Mr. Delano kills people. We know he came to our house, and under a hat, if you're a good police officer, you don't run and hide. He was running in Caroline with a camera behind him. If you're a police officer, you stand up the officer. This is how they work. This is how they kidnap children. Put the facts out in public. The police of Belgium has no credibility with Delano as part of it, as a kidnapping child and killing others and issuing false documents. And all done by the instruction of DL. Now we know. He puts a picture, I got poisoned the day by himself. How could you know I was poisoned when you're in Belgium and in Italy you know how I've been poisoned? Calling Dr. Kostova that is poisoned with arsenic. Because you poisoned the same Slout, the same yourself by mistake, and now me. We have a lot of things. The police around Europe is on the run, trying to gather as much as they are. And he writes, I'm still free. Not long. Please walk into the office of your own tax office and say why you have so many hidden accounts. I want to know how much they allow you to stay alive or be free. And then the other things you've done. Keshe Foundation stands for its own integrity. We are forced, we play the game, but at the same time we take our time. Now we release information. Sorry about this, but we all been through this. A lot of you stood a lot of rubbish which went on the internet, and you told me why you don't defend. We only defend when we are solid, when we have solid information. We gathered. I thank the security team in the background. I thank those who work day and night relentlessly to bring these things together. Without you, it would have been impossible. But we have to do it now. Please, when you go somewhere, write on top of it, please list how they damage the new technology. Facts about that. Write everything about me on it. I give you the right to do. And then write, please write the man who writes this. What do you call it? The Belgium politician who he destroyed single-handedly to become part of it. He says he's a thief, but I sit next to him. And then about his Panama accounts, about the people he worked with, and the death of Fabio, and say, please, judge, is yours. But this is the technology. Bring it into public. It's your responsibility. It's your obligation. We owe this to Fabio. I put a lot of resources into this, a lot of time into this, because I made one promise to the soul of Fabio in Italy. I will catch his murderers. I owe this to a woman, Naomi. That this man in Belgium planned the death of both of them. 2 Albanian drivers, trapping them to get me to kill me. It wasn't one truck, 2 Albanian trucks trapped Fabio. Now you know more, that we're going to release more. This is in document of Italian police. 2 driver Albanians trapped deliberately. They knew he's on the same run from me with the office at the same time. The informers told them, but somehow I passed. They did not recognize one way or another that I passed. And they've trapped Fabio, that I get out, they shoot me while attending to help Fabio. Now we know the process. 2 Albanian drivers, false documentation. We'll do the job. Now we are out to do it, and we do it perfectly. We got Sterling Alanin for 25 years on life, raping. The other guy who's going to hide to help him, the same. I wonder when he goes to prison, how many names of children in Africa will come out. I'm going to end that today because it's not much to do much. Thank you very much for today. But be proud in what you do. Teach openly and put everything about me, which is wrong about me, written on the top of your introduction. And write, please write who writes. This is the guy. And they understand. I say, now this is the technology. Thank you very much for today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. And if anyone has leftover questions, they can keep them for next week, and we'll bring them up again. And that'll be the end of the 162nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, March 9th, 2017. And as always, thank you everybody for attending. And we'll close the live stream now. And see you all next week.
Okay, that's the end of YouTube. Thanks, everybody.